At a medical conference dinner, my husband received a call from his childhood crush. She confessed she was terminally ill and wanted to profess her love before dying. She'd loved him for years and wrote him love letters, which I intercepted and destroyed, his eyes burning with emotion. My husband stormed out without a second thought. I stopped him. Tonight's gathering is filled with medical luminaries who see great promise in you. Don't act recklessly, come back with me. My husband slapped me in rage. Stop being so heartless. You've monopolized me for over a decade. She just wants to see me one last time. Wei Feng died in a drunk driving accident, never knowing two crucial things. His blow knocked me down, causing a miscarriage. His dream girl wasn't actually sick. She was just playing truth or dare. When I opened my eyes again, I'd traveled back to my 16th birthday. Wei Feng's mother knelt in our living room, begging my father to sponsor her brilliant but impoverished son. I grabbed my father's arm. Did our family fortune grow on trees? Not happening. Overnight, I became the laughingstock of high society. They couldn't decide whether to mock me or pity me. After 3 years of endless injections and finally succeeding with IVF, my husband's slap caused me to miscarry. I leveraged my family's wealth and connections to pave his way, transforming that poor boy into an elite neurosurgeon through Ivy League education and class ascension. What's the point of fawning over him? My husband still dropped everything when his ex called. Wei Feng died, drunk and desperate to reach the airport. He lost control at 200 kilometers per hour and wrapped his car around a tree. I saw the body, his face shredded by glass, bones shattered everywhere. The fatal wound being a branch through the neck that severed his carotid. The day Wei Feng died, I underwent surgery. Through the haze, I heard the doctor murmur with pity, "Poor Mrs. Yen, egg retrieval is so painful." And after finally conceiving, twins no less, not long after surgery, I dragged myself up to arrange Wei Feng's funeral affairs. In his office, I received his personal effects, a safe. His students said it contained Professor Wei's most treasured possessions, too. I had the safe forcibly opened. Inside were neither gold bars nor jewels, nor academic papers, just some ordinary little things. A hairpin she once wore, a tiny comb tangled with strands of hair, an old diary, and a tissue smeared with cooking oil and lipstick. My heart skipped a beat. I still remember our high school reunion a month ago. Jiang Xia, the campus belle, was there too. At the banquet, old classmates clinked glasses and reminisced, showering Wei Feng with flattery for marrying a socialite and becoming a top-tier physician, the epitome of success. Wei Feng, always aloof by nature, merely offered a polite smile and barely touched his chopsticks throughout the meal. As a neurosurgeon, he had an almost pathological obsession with cleanliness. Even my riding in his car would trigger a full deep cleaning and disinfection routine, yet shockingly, he secretly pocketed Jiang Xia's used napkin when no one was looking, treasuring it like some sacred relic. Suppressing my fury, I opened the diary, only for several photographs to tumble out unexpectedly. Every photo featured Jiang Xia, with telltale watermarks in the bottom right corner, likely downloaded from her Weibo by Wei Feng before being secretly printed. Among them was an old graduation photo of Wei Feng and Jiang Xia from their high school days. In the picture, Jiang Xia's waist-length black hair and statuesque frame rivaled a celebrity's beauty, while Wei Feng, though handsome, appeared gaunt and sunburnt with rural flesh, his malnutrition and farm labor evident. Who could imagine the polished Professor Wei in his tailored suits was once this awkward country boy? His diary overflowed with secret admiration for Jiang Xia. A single smile from the campus belle could make his entire week. He'd even secretly retrieve the yogurt containers she discarded, adding water to drink the remnants, practically kissing his goddess by proxy. Beyond that, his journal brimmed with loathing toward me and venomous hatred for my family. He believed my father looked down on the poor, while my brother's smug superiority constantly mocked and belittled him. He endured humiliation to be with me, flattering me in exchange for the tycoon's patronage. For money, he had to kiss me and whisper sickening sweet nothings. After our first taste of forbidden fruit, he felt filthy and scrubbed himself raw for 2 solid hours. Whenever he couldn't take it anymore, he'd think of Jiang Xia. The girl radiant as the moon was the sole salvation in his bleak existence. 3. Those society ladies mocked me for being love-struck. Perhaps so. Once, I loved Wei Feng with all my heart. At the age of 5, I was kidnapped by human traffickers and sold to a mountain village. The Liu family bought me to raise as a child bride for their mentally disabled son. In that isolated, impoverished village, Wei Feng, the eldest son of the Wei family, stood out like a golden phoenix. Wei Feng was handsome and academically gifted, the first middle school graduate in the village who later topped the county exams to enter a prestigious provincial high school. To me, Wei Feng was like the moon, always visible yet forever out of reach. While cutting pigweed, I'd often steal glances at him reciting English under the jujube tree, captivated even though I couldn't understand a word, back then. He was so kind, gently picking weeds from my hair while asking if I still remembered where home was. I told him I'd forgotten, only recalling my beautiful mother, my fierce father, and that my name might be Inen. Wei Feng pitied me for having to consummate the marriage with a simpleton, yet powerless to change the circumstances. Asked what I desired, I said I wanted to learn to read and write. That day, Wei Feng patiently taught me to write my name, Anhua, stroke by stroke. I thought to myself. My fortune was truly remarkable. On the very day I was forced into that sham marriage with the village idiot, my father showed up with police officers and hired bodyguards. Turns out my old man was a billionaire. When I was little, my mom took me to an amusement park. I got snatched by human traffickers while she was buying me a toy. Heartbroken and desperate after years of searching, my mother developed severe depression and eventually overdosed on sleeping pills when no one was watching. My mother's dying wish was for my father and brother to find me no matter what. Out of guilt, my father spoiled me rotten, and my brother doted on me endlessly. At 16, I could barely read or write, but Dad pulled some strings to get me into the best high school. He didn't care about grades, just wanted me to get that diploma. He handed me a card and told me to spend freely. It took me forever to count all those digits. The balance had 8 figures. Dad asked what else I wanted. I told him I liked Brother Wei Feng. He's top of his class. Taught me to write my name, and was the only person in that village who treated me kindly. My dream is to marry him someday, but his family's poor, with 2 younger brothers and a sister. Could you sponsor his education? Studying's his only shot at a better life. My father burst into laughter and said something profound at that moment. If you truly love someone, they don't need to be exceptional. A modest office job would suffice for their future. Back then I was too naive to grasp my father's wisdom. I took the money he gave me and poured everything into helping Wei Feng and his family. 4. I sat by the floor-to-ceiling window, smoking cigarettes through the entire night. In the morning, my brother called, Inen, I've looked into that matter you asked about. Jiang Xie isn't sick. When Wei Feng had his accident, she was actually playing truth or dare with friends at a bar. Funny thing. It just hit me that this girl used to chase after me relentlessly for ages. I asked my brother to send me Jiang Xie's contact details. Some things need my personal verification. The call connected after about 5 rings, and Jiang Xie's sweet, cheerful voice came through. Hey there, who's this? I took a drag from my cigarette. It's Yenin. There was a brief silence on Jiang Xie's end before she cooed. Oh Annie, I saw the news about your husband's accident and your miscarriage. Life's unpredictable, but you're still young. You'll definitely find someone better than Wei Feng. By the way, I heard your brother's been asking about me. How's he doing? Is he married now? I felt sick to my stomach. Wei Feng, look, this is the goddess you've been pining after for years. You call me heartless and cold. Well, where was your precious goddess? She didn't even ask about you after you died. I cut Jiang Xie off. You called my husband the day he had the accident, didn't you? Jiang Xie quickly denied it. That's nonsense. Don't make things up, I said coldly. Shall we pull up the call logs then? Jiang Xie scoffed. Even if I did call, that's not illegal, is it? I was drunk. I clenched my fists. Do you have any idea that because of your words, Wei Feng rushed back to the country and got into a car accident? Jiang Xie sneered with utter disdain. Don't go pinning your baseless accusations on me. I won't take the blame for this. Bye. I gritted my teeth and snapped. If you truly believe you're innocent, then wait for my court summons. Jiang Xie's tone softened considerably. Inen, is there some misunderstanding here? We've been close friends since high school. There's no need for things to escalate like this, is there? I took a deep breath. What exactly happened that day? What's really going on between you and Wei Feng? Jiang Xie sighed helplessly. I swear to heaven there's absolutely nothing between Wei Feng and me. That night, a group of us went bar hopping, yes, including Zhang Yang, Wei Feng's best friend. We played truth or dare. I lost, and Zhang Yang dared me to call your husband with a fake confession. Right after the call, I immediately texted Wei Feng saying it was just a prank. He couldn't have missed that text, could he? Pranks aren't illegal, right? I genuinely had no idea Wei Feng had feelings for me. Just a joke. The stabbing pain in my lower abdomen returned, my vision flickering in and out of darkness. Your stupid joke got Wei Feng killed. Wei Feng got what he deserved. But my twins, what did they ever do wrong? They never even got to see this world before dying inside me. 5. The wound down there tore open, bleeding profusely until I blacked out. When I came to, my whole body ached with exhaustion, yet strangely, the stomach pain was gone and my arms had noticeably slimmed down. Just as I was dazed and confused, 3 knocks sounded at the door. My brother walked in. I froze. My brother stood there in athletic wear, casually balancing a basketball on his left hand, tall, handsome, looking no older than 20, and then, still lazing in bed. It's your 16th birthday today. Dad invited your whole class. We're throwing you a party tonight. 16, my breath caught. I grabbed the mirror from the nightstand and gasped. The reflection showed a wide-eyed girl with youthful innocence, unmistakably my younger self. Did I really get reborn at 16, still half asleep, lazybones? My brother ruffled my hair and jerked his chin toward the door. Isn't Wei Feng your crush? His mom just brought him over. A sharp pain shot through my head. Wei Feng. My brother fished out a white rabbit candy from his pocket, unwrapped it, and popped it into my mouth. Damn. Wei Feng's mom somehow found out it's your birthday, showed up with a basket of eggs and her son in tow. No wonder you like that kid. Just gotta look at him. Bit rustic, but not bad looking. I threw off the blanket and dashed downstairs. In the living room, the housekeeper was serving desserts and tea to the guests. My father had just returned from work, still in his suit, looking refined and handsome. On the adjacent sofa sat Wei Feng and his mother. Wei Feng's mother, Wang Chui, had a face weathered to a ruddy complexion from years of toiling in the fields, with sparse, yellowish hair. Clasping her hands between her knees, she stole furtive glances around the room. My husband Wei Feng wore a faded tracksuit, his hand covering a hole at the knee. His boyish face was etched with unease. Wang Chui pushed the eggs forward with an ingratiating smile. These are free-range eggs from our village. For Annan's birthday, it's not much, but it's our humble gift. My father gave a curt nod. Thank you for coming all this way. Actually, I've got a meeting to attend shortly. Suddenly, Wang Chui pulled Wei Feng down with her as they dropped to their knees with a thud. Through tears, she pleaded, you know our situation. His father got impaled through the leg by steel rebar at work, and we've got a house full of elderly and children to feed. Wei Feng's made us proud by getting into the city high school. The boys got promise. But we just can't afford it anymore. We've failed him. 6. My father took a sip of tea. Unmoved by the pitiful mother and son, with a faint smile, he said, Anan just escaped that godforsaken backwater. To be honest, I'd rather she didn't reconnect with people or things from that past. Here's some money, you should go now. In my past life, seeing Aunt Wang Chui begging like this, I'd rushed out and raged at my father, calling him a heartless capitalist with no compassion, like a fool. I even forced him to pay for Wei Feng's education and lift the Wei family out of poverty, but this time, I didn't go. At that moment, I saw Wei Feng's body tremble, his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles turned white. Suddenly, Wei Feng raised his head, though his face remained as refined and gaunt as before. His eyes were utterly transformed, cold, vicious, and bone-chilling. These were not the eyes of a 16-year-old boy. In an instant, I understood, this was the 34-year-old Wei Feng. He actually reincarnated too. Wei Feng helped his mother up, chin raised arrogantly as he spat through gritted teeth at my father. Who the hell do you think you're looking down on? I'm no beggar needing your damn charity. My father froze in shock. Wang Chui panicked and yanked her son's arm. What nonsense are you spouting? Apologize to the chairman now. Wei Feng let out a cold laugh and walked away without looking back. Wang Chui clasped her hands in prayer, sobbing to my father. This child has always been stubborn since childhood, Chairman. Please don't take it to heart. I couldn't be bothered to look at Wang Chui anymore and quickly exited through the side door. At that moment, Wei Feng stood in the middle of the courtyard, his eyes burning with hatred as he glared at our front gate. Wei Feng, I stepped forward with deliberate mockery. This is your golden ticket out of peasant life. Swallow your pride and apologize to my father. He might just fund your Harvard education. A flicker of disgust crossed Wei Feng's eyes as he studied me intently, then suddenly furrowed his brows. Harvard, Yenin, you've been reborn too, haven't you? I gave a lazy hum, crossing my arms. Was dying for Jiangxi's words worth it? Any regrets? Wei Feng sneered. What's done is done. Why would I regret it? He retorted. What about you? Why did you get reborn? After I died, you had money, looks, and kids. No more dealing with that frigid husband. You must have been thrilled, right? I arched my brows. Absolutely thrilled. Wei Feng fell silent and turned to leave. This lifetime, I'll live as I please. No one gets to control me again. Yenin, stop clinging to me like some lovesick fool. I smiled faintly. Don't worry, never again. 7. On my 16th birthday, I got a second chance at life. My dad had planned this lavish party, sending his assistant to pick up my classmates. He even booked a chart-topping singer to perform at my birthday bash. I refused. I explained to Dad that classmates who befriend me for personal gain aren't real friends. Rather than splurging on some meaningless party, we should donate to organizations fighting against human trafficking of women and children. Having suffered the pain of abduction myself, I'm now willing to lend a helping hand whenever I can. What's more, I asked my father to hire several tutors for me. In my past life, I wasted my prime youth revolving around Wei Feng. While he was studying hard at prestigious universities abroad, I devoted myself to perfecting home-cooked meals so he'd always return to a warm dinner, while he immersed himself in academia, publishing one groundbreaking paper after another. I'd plan our trips, ready to explore and unwind with him whenever he had free time. Social interactions weren't his forte, so I networked on his behalf, helping him secure an associate professorship at a remarkably young age. Once I drank on his behalf until developing acute gastroenteritis, ending up with midnight blood tests and 4 drips at the hospital. My father was heartbroken when he found out. Too upset to scold me, he slapped Wei Feng in anger instead. Unable to save face, Wei Feng silently moved into a hotel without a word. He felt my father was bullying him with his authority, always treating him as a worthless live-in son-in-law, subjecting him to constant abuse. He said he loved me deeply, but simply couldn't stand my father any longer. At that moment, it was like I was under some dark spell. I had a huge blowout with my father. My father's blood pressure skyrocketed with rage as he demanded, "Yenin, choose, your father or your husband." Without hesitation, I chose my husband. In my eyes, my childhood held no parents or siblings. Only Wei Feng, the brother I never had. After that, my father and I didn't speak for over a year. I thought my declaration would delight Wei Feng, but he remained as indifferent as ever. There were times I'd wear lingerie and initiate sex, only for him to brush me off claiming exhaustion from surgeries. Occasionally, perhaps feeling a husband shouldn't repeatedly reject his wife, he'd oblige. But truth be told, the experiences were underwhelming, never lasting beyond 10 minutes. In my naivety, I thought he might have some male health issues that made him ashamed to be intimate. I actually secretly consulted an old Chinese medicine practitioner about it. To my surprise, Wei Feng flew into a rage, his face turning beet red as he scolded me for meddling and even accused me of looking down on him. After Wei Feng's death, his mother Wan Cui somehow found out about our argument at the dinner party where he had laid hands on me. She was convinced I'd tampered with her son's car. Not only did she report me to the police, but she repeatedly brought relatives and friends to cause scenes at my father's company, demanding compensation. Wei Feng's siblings had been leeching off us for years. After his death, they shed crocodile tears and demanded I hand over his bank books and property deeds at the funeral. I'd just had surgery and was still weak at the time. Had it not been for my father and brother standing up for me, I would have collapsed long ago. Through tears, I asked my father, "When I cut ties with you for that man, didn't you hate me?" With a choked voice, he replied, "How could I ever hate you? I've only ever wanted to cherish you. This lifetime, I'll live for myself, studying, traveling, savoring good food. Love yourself, love your family." 8. Putting on the school uniform again felt both exciting and nerve-wracking. I was in the regular class during freshman year, while Wei Feng was in the top-tier rocket class, basically the 985 university prep program. The moment I stepped into the classroom, Jiang Xia came straight toward me. I had to admit, that woman was stunningly beautiful. She wrapped her arms around me and asked with concern, "Anan, wasn't yesterday your birthday? Why did you suddenly cancel the party?" I pushed her away and walked alone to the back row. In my past life, Jiang Xia and I were classmates and very close friends. She was the school's it girl, gorgeous, with countless boys chasing after her. Even college students were asking for her contact info. Growing up in a remote mountain village made me quiet and introverted, and I always felt somewhat inferior around these city kids. My brother approached Jiang Xia, the popular campus belle, hoping she'd befriend me, to look after me and help me make more female friends. True to her promise, Jiang Xia proactively asked our homeroom teacher to let us share a desk. She'd patiently explain homework problems, refill my thermos with hot water, buy me snacks, and even do my assignments for me. She'd even play the protective big sister, warding off those guys who pursued me with ulterior motives. The hardships and lack of love in my childhood made me develop people-pleasing tendencies in my past life. I once wallowed in the mire, gazing up at admirable Wei Feng and envying graceful Jiang Xia. For every ounce of kindness shown to me, I'd return tenfold. I've lost count of all the clothes and makeup I gave Jiang Xia throughout high school, even forgot how I forced my brother to date her after she tearfully confessed her crush on him. "Anan, Are you feeling sick? Jiang Xia pressed her hand to my forehead. Oh dear, you're warm. Should I tell your brother? Don't bother him, I snapped coldly, pulling textbooks from my bag. Jiang Xia asked softly, is everything alright at home? I shot a cold glance at this hypocritical woman. Could you keep it down? You may not want to study, but I do. Jiang Xia flushed crimson, biting her lower lip in embarrassment as she returned to her seat. During class, she kept sniffling as if deeply wronged, then suddenly slipped me a note. Anan, you've never spoken to me so coldly before. We're best friends. I genuinely care about you. I even prepared a birthday gift yesterday, but since your party got cancelled, I couldn't give it to you in person. I'm really sorry about that. Is something going on at home? If you ever need someone to talk to, I'll always be here for you. I crumpled the note expressionlessly, tossed it on the floor, and went back to listening to the lecture. 9. Because of my icy sarcasm, Jiang Xia spent the entire class period crying with her face buried in her arms. During the recess exercises, I saw her leave the classroom, worried she might use it as an excuse to bother my brother. I followed her out. To my surprise, Jiang Xia didn't head to the senior building, but marched straight toward the honors class. She's probably looking for Wei Feng, isn't she? Just as expected, the moment the campus bell appeared at the honors class doorway, the male students went wild. A few jokers pushed out the tall, lean, and handsome Wei Feng. Facing his secret crush, Wei Feng looked uncharacteristically shy for a man in his 30s. Scratching the back of his head like a schoolboy with flushed cheeks, classmate Jiang, did you need something? Jiang Xia gave a slight nod. Could we talk somewhere private? Amidst the whooping and teasing from the boys, the pair left the honors class and headed toward the pavilion behind the building. I followed closely, concealing myself in the shadows. If I'm not mistaken, Jiang Xia must have been asking Wei Feng about me. Wei Feng, you're quite close to Anan. Do you know what's been going on with her family? Wei Feng replied with disgust. Yenan, what's she done now? Perhaps realizing his outburst, Wei Feng cleared his throat and smiled gently. Actually, I'm not that familiar with Yenan. Jiang Xia visibly deflated. Oh, I see, Wei Feng asked with concern. Classmate Jiang, your eyes are red. Have you been crying? Did Yenan upset you? Not at all, Jiang Xia sighed. Anan and I are close friends. She'd never hurt me. She's just been in low spirits today. Didn't say a word since arriving at school. I'm really worried about her. Wei Feng said softly. You're so kind. Jiang Xia's cheeks flushed with shyness. Thank you for your kind words. As she turned to leave, she suddenly remembered something and flashed Wei Feng a radiant smile. Classmate Wei, Chairman Mao once wrote a poem. A youth sets out from his hometown, vowing not to return without achieving greatness. With your talent and diligence, I'm certain you'll return in glory someday. Keep it up. At that moment, Wei Feng's eyes welled up as he gazed at the girl with profound reverence, like a humble believer in the dust suddenly beholding a divine presence. So that's how it is, Wei Feng. Is this why you wrote in your diary that Jiang Xia was the only light in your bleak life? 10. I got my period and had cramps, so I asked my homeroom teacher for leave to change in the restroom. I once complained to my dad about how our 10-minute breaks weren't enough. The restroom lines were so long that by the time it was my turn, class would start and I'd have to hold it in. Right after hearing this, my father contacted the school board and donated a library building. He had just one condition: to build a private restroom on the library's first floor for my convenience. Calling it a restroom would be an understatement. It was more like a luxury dressing room. The outer area had plush carpeting, with closets holding my clothes, bags, and high-end cosmetics, while the inner space featured a shower. I was sitting on the toilet when suddenly the door beeped open. This restroom is exclusively for my use in the entire school. Other than the housekeeper sent by my family for regular cleaning, no one should be coming in here. It suddenly hit me. In my past life, I was close with Jiang Xia. I'd given her an access card, and she'd hugged me excitedly, saying I was like a little angel. Damn, today's just fucking cursed. Jiang Xia's voice dripped with arrogant nonchalance. I cracked the door open just enough to see Jiang Xia enter with her lackey Bai Shui, slouching into the swivel chair like a delinquent. Jiang Xia fished a cigarette pack from her jeans and took a drag. Easy on the smokes, Bai Shui chuckled. We've got study hall later, don't let the homeroom teacher catch a whiff. Jiang Xia expertly blew a perfect smoke ring. What's there to worry about? Just spritz some perfume later. As she spoke, her fingers glided over the limited edition perfumes on the table before picking up a jar of creme de la mer and casually slipping it into her backpack. Bai Shui instinctively glanced around and whispered, "Isn't this wrong? I heard this cream costs a fortune." Jiang Xia scoffed. "Relax, that bumpkin Yenan wouldn't know the difference." She's been using La Mer as hand cream, with her sandpaper skin. She's wasting this luxury. I'll just refill the jar with some cheap moisturizer and return it tomorrow morning. She'll never notice. Bai Shui giggled. She's such a nouveau riche with that ridiculous generosity. Last week when we visited her place and complimented her clothes and shoes, she actually said, "I've got more than I can wear. If you like anything, just take it." Jiang Xia arched an eyebrow. What did you take? Bai Shui blushed slightly. A Tom Ford eyeshadow palette, TCH. Jiang Xia rolled her eyes. Should have grabbed something pricier. She's got tons of luxury stuff and no idea what's what. Better for us friends to have them than her maids. Bai Shui asked with a smile. So what did you take? Jiang Xia smirked mischievously. Snagged a Hermes clutch. I secretly checked the price. 150 grand. What a damn waste. That idiot Yan actually stuffed stinky tofu and chocolates in it. Bai Shui was stunned. How could you dare? Jiang Xia exhaled cigarette smoke leisurely. Why not? Her closet's overflowing with designer bags her dad keeps buying. A measly 100 grand bag is just loose change for their family. Been days since I took it. Has she even noticed? 11. Bai Shui gave a thumbs up. You're really something else, Jiang Xia said smugly. Damn right. I've got that little bitch completely under my thumb. That clueless idiot actually thinks people don't know her dirty secrets. She got trafficked to some village where supposedly every man there had their way with her. I only treat her nicely out of pity. Bai Shui asked with a laugh. By the way, I heard you went looking for Wei Feng during morning exercises. What's up? Got a thing for nerds now. Jiang Xia snorted dismissively. Wei Feng, that loser. If Yenin didn't have a crush on him, I wouldn't even glance at that country bumpkin. Ugh. You wouldn't believe the stench on him. Smells like chicken shit. Bet he hasn't showered once since coming to the city. The two girls burst into giggles. I laughed too. Wei Feng, does your goddess know she's badmouthing you like this? Bai Shui teased mischievously. I know who you've got a crush on. Yan's brother, the campus heartthrob Yan Ping. Good grief, you were practically eye-fucking him. Jiang Xia's eyes sparkled like pink bubbles. Don't you think my Ping Ping has this aristocratic aura? OMG, guess what? This morning I saw him driving a Bentley to school. You know what a Bentley is, right? Like, crazy expensive luxury wheels. Bai Shui sighed. Yeah, let me be real with you. While our families are considered decent at school, our parents are just regular state enterprise employees at best, compared to the Yin family's business empire. We're nothing. I've heard those rich heirs always marry equally wealthy socialites. I'm worried about you. Jiang Xia stubbed out her cigarette. If I can't be the main wife, I'll settle for being the mistress. I didn't grow this pretty face for nothing. As long as I treat his sister well, he'll see me differently. Marrying Yan Ping means never having to lift a finger. Mansions, luxury cars, unlimited shopping sprees. What a life. I shook my head with a laugh, stood up, flushed the toilet, and pushed the door open. The two girls were frozen in shock, ignoring them. I went straight to wash my hands. Bai Shui kept frantically shooting meaningful glances at Jiang Xia. Jiang Xia forced an artificial smile. And then, didn't you take leave to go home? Still here. Did you hear anything just now? I adjusted my hair in the mirror. Every word of it. Jiang Xia's breath hitched before she suddenly slapped Bai Shui. Who told you to badmouth Anan? Apologize now. Bai Shui was stunned with rage and shoved Jiang Xia. It was you who insulted Yenin. Yet you're pinning it on me. Jiang Xia looked at me with tearful eyes. Anan, I really didn't. Didn't what? I lifted my chin, glaring coldly. Didn't take my face cream, or didn't steal my bag. Jiang Xia visibly panicked. You got it all wrong. Besides, you said yourself you treat me like a sister, that I could borrow your things anytime. Oh, I feigned confusion, glancing at Bai Shui. Did I ever say that before? Being sharp, Bai Shui quickly linked arms with me. No. I've never heard Anan say anything like that. I smirked at Jiang Xia. Just a friendly reminder. That bag you stole from my place wasn't worth 150k. It's a 1.25 million Hermes. Even if I were ridiculously generous, I'd never give away my mother's keepsake, would I? Jiang Xia turned pale, frantically waving her hands. No, I didn't steal anything. I pulled out my phone from my pocket and waved it. Oops, I've recorded everything you said. Jiang Xia lunged forward and snatched the phone. I smirked. What's the point? I already sent it to my brother and asked him to call the cops. Stealing something worth over $1 million. How many years is that gonna get you? 12. About 20 minutes later, police sirens wailed across the campus. Given the staggering sum involved, Jiang Xia and Bai Shui were immediately escorted to a police car, sending the entire school into an uproar. True to her reputation as a beauty, Jiang Xia wept pitifully while pleading with my brother. She claimed I'd told friends they could take anything from my room, and that she'd always had feelings for him. After all this time looking after his sister, shouldn't that count for something? She thought my brother would soften. To everyone's shock, my brother pulled me close and said coldly, even if my sister offered gifts, did you ever confirm with her before taking? What's taken without permission is stolen. Designer bags aren't just collectibles, they're assets. Why would she give away assets to you? My father was tied up with official duties, so he left the matter entirely in my brother and the butler's hands. According to my brother, Jiang Xia and Bai Shui got into a fight at the police station. 3 officers couldn't even pull them apart. Bai Shui turned witness, accusing Jiang Xia of stealing not just my handbag, but also my designer clothes, cosmetics, jewelry, and other luxury items. Totaling roughly over 1.5 million yuan, my brother compiled the purchase receipts as evidence and submitted them to the police station. The police acted swiftly and efficiently, promptly finding the corresponding items in Jiang Xia's backpack and home. Soon after, Jiang Xia's parents came begging to our house, kneeling before my brother in tears, pleading for mercy on account of their daughter's youth and ignorance, and the fact that they were all classmates. They begged him to give Jiang Xia a break. My brother, known for his decisive and ruthless approach, coldly replied, "Your daughter is two-faced. Not only did she humiliate my sister's character, but she also spread rumors about her being defiled by villagers. I won't let anyone who bullies my sister off easily." Although the law reduces sentences for minors under 18, the amount involved in this theft is substantial, and with both witnesses and evidence, she won't have trouble serving a few years. Instead of begging me, you should hire a good lawyer. That might help reduce her sentence. Jiang Xia's parents were devastated and desperately sought help from anyone they could, pleading with teachers and the principal to intervene. Just as expected, Wei Feng tracked me down. 13. Wei Feng ambushed me on my usual route home. His dark circles were pronounced, clearly sleepless for days. Though visibly seething with rage, he forced civility as he asked, "Yenin, what exactly do you want? Did you frame Shiyu on purpose?" I gave him a dismissive glance, snapped my fingers, and summoned my bodyguard. "Pat him down." Sure enough, the bodyguard fished out a voice recorder from Wei Feng's inner pocket, flushed with humiliation and rage. Wei Feng spat out, "How dare you treat me like this?" I twirled the recorder between my fingers. "Not exactly cheap, is it? So you blew the school's poverty relief stipend on this toy, planning to live on air now?" With a derisive snort, I tossed the device into the river, trying to bait me into confessing so you can save Jiang Xia. "Wei Feng, I was pulling this trick in my past life. You're still wet behind the ears." Wei Feng glared at me viciously. "I never thought you could be so underhanded." My heart turned cold. True, if I hadn't been cunning in my past life, if I hadn't schemed to protect you, those higher-ups would have devoured you whole by now. Wei Feng grabbed my collar, his teeth clenched. "You're filthy rich. Designer bags and jewelry beyond count. A measly million means nothing to you. Yenin, tell me, are you just tormenting Xia out of spite? Need you ask?" "Obviously." I tilted my head, meeting his icy stare with a smirk. "What, does it sting?" Wei Feng released me, his head hanging in defeat. "It's me you hate, me who wronged you. Xia had nothing to do with any of this. She's a decent girl who keeps to herself. I was the one fantasizing about her. I felt sick to my stomach. Nothing to do with it. What decent girl calls a married man out of the blue and flirts with him in the dead of night?" Wei Feng stared at me. "Anan, you've changed." I rolled my eyes. "Don't call me Anan, you've lost that right." Wei Feng sighed and grabbed my hand. "Anan, I was wrong in our past life. I shouldn't have hit you, shouldn't have ignored your warnings and insisted on driving out. I not only got myself killed but also broke your heart. I know you've always been the best to me in this world. Since being reborn, I've been reflecting. Truth is, I never really liked Jiang Xia that much. It's you I love. Let's make up and go study abroad next semester." I shook off this filthy man and sneered. "What the hell are you barking about?" "Huh?" Wei Feng froze. I stepped back. "What makes you think I'd still want you? Are we social equals? Are you exceptionally handsome, or just phenomenal in bed?" "Wei Feng, what exactly is your redeeming quality that'd make me spare you a second glance?" Wei Feng's breath came in ragged gasps as he glared at me fiercely. "What will it take for you to let Shiyu go?" "On your knees," I commanded, tilting my chin arrogantly. After a brief hesitation, Wei Feng dropped to his knees with a thud. I shook my head in disbelief. A man's dignity is worth more than gold. He should only kneel to heaven, earth, or his parents. Yet here you are, groveling for Jiang Shiyu. You wouldn't understand. Despite all her flaws, she still means the world to me. Wei Feng's eyes welled up with tears. Miss Yen, I sincerely apologize again. For the sake of our past life as husband and wife, please let this slide. I've never humbled myself like this before. I studied the man for a long moment before replying coolly. I can drop the lawsuit, but my designer bag has visible scratches, and some cosmetics and jewelry are damaged. Jiang Xia will have to compensate for these losses. Wei Feng exhaled in relief. How much? I smiled. 300,000. Consider it the alumni discount, my dear Professor Wei. 14,300,000 yuan is no small sum for an average working-class family. Jiang Xia's parents scraped together everything they had, but could only come up with 250,000. That's all they're willing to compensate, but I'm standing firm on my demand. Wei Feng approached me again, pleading for leniency. The 250,000 payment has already drained the Jiang family's savings. I'm unmoved. So you've drained your savings. If that's not enough, borrow from close friends or even sell your house and car. If the Jiang family won't pay, then I'm sorry, Jiang Xia will just have to go to prison. Professor Wei, with your talents, you'll surely find a way to raise the money for your beloved goddess. If all else fails, you could tutor students, perform surgeries at the hospital, or worst case, sell your research papers. Wei Feng stormed off in anger. I had someone keep close tabs on Wei Feng. As expected, Wei Feng was now penniless with no way to raise 50 grand. He owned nothing of value except one priceless asset, his medical genius. He rented a computer at an internet cafe and stayed there for 2 straight days. On the third morning, Wei Feng printed a thick stack of documents at the front desk, then immediately made a phone call. I've warned him countless times in the past to stay away from Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang comes from a wealthy family. His mother runs a medical equipment business, while his father is a chief neurosurgeon and doctoral advisor. Yet Zhang Yang is utterly incompetent, spending his days chasing girls and partying. His admission to Be University's medical school was entirely orchestrated by his father, who also ghostwrote both his undergraduate and master's theses. His father exploited his master's and PhD students, engaged in academic misconduct, and repeatedly took bribes from patients and doctors, a complete scumbag. In short, neither father nor son is any good. In his past life, Wei Feng didn't care. He seemed to relish the flattery and deference from rich kids. He and Zhang Yang were tight colleagues and best buddies who often went street racing at midnight. Wei Feng, you've got talent, but you're blind to the truth and dirt poor. In your past life, you were desperate to escape rural poverty, so despite your resentment, you wore a mask and bowed your spine to my family. After rebirth, you thought your skills could bend fate to your will, so you raised that arrogant head of yours and spoke insolently to my father. But Wei Feng, even rebirth can't change the brutal law of the jungle. 15. Wei Feng reached out to his old buddy Zhang Yang from his previous life. Zhang Yang was a few years older and already a sophomore at the time. Wei Feng obviously couldn't just blurt out, "Hey Zhang Yang, we were like brothers in our past lives, help a buddy out." Even if he had said it, no one would have believed him, so he presented his letter of credence and SCI paper he'd published in his previous life. He wanted money, pay up, and the paper would be published under Zhang Yang's name. At first Zhang Yang thought the high schooler was messing with him, but after skimming Wei Feng's sample pages, he was stunned and immediately showed them to his father. Days later, Zhang Yang readily handed Wei Feng 100,000 yuan and befriended the teenage prodigy. Wei Feng gave 50,000 to the Jiang family, sent part of the remainder to his hometown, and kept the rest for himself. He bought diamond stud earrings and a bouquet of roses to welcome his beloved goddess on the day Jiang Xia was released from detention. Rumor has it that when the goddess learned Wei Feng scraped together money for her bail, she was utterly moved. Clinging to him like a wronged child, she wept while denouncing my cruelty. Adversity reveals true hearts. She realized she'd fallen for Wei Feng. Perfect match. Trash belongs with trash. May they rot together forever. Jiang Xia changed her name and quietly transferred schools after the theft scandal. Rumor has it she once asked Wei Feng where he got so much money. Wei Feng smiled and said his family home had been demolished for redevelopment. Jiang Xia was thrilled. She never guessed Feng was a demolitionaire. Their romance was pure and touching. They often traveled together and went to movies, to spend more time with his girlfriend. Wei Feng rented an apartment near Jiang Xia's school, and the two officially moved in together during their sophomore year. 16. Wei Feng skipped classes constantly, indulged in carnal pleasures, and soon saw his grades plummet. He fell out of the top 30 rankings and was demoted from the elite class to a regular one. Whenever he tried to focus on studying, Jiang Xia would always come up with some new distraction. His sweetheart girlfriend, swayed by someone's whispers, tearfully confessed her grades were too abysmal to even sniff at college admission. She wanted to study acting and audition for Beijing Film Academy, but how could an ordinary family possibly afford those exorbitant training fees? Jiang Xia was utterly heartbroken. This was her one and only dream after all. Watching his beauty waste away, Wei Feng couldn't take it anymore. Come hell or high water, he'd make his darling's dream come true. Wei Feng thought of Zhang Yang again. Zhang Yang seemed to have anticipated Wei Feng's approach. He was remarkably generous, insisting money wouldn't be an issue for quality work. Wei Feng secured a month's medical leave from school, claiming emergency appendicitis surgery. For that entire month, he holed up in his rented apartment, racking his brains to recall his past life's knowledge, ultimately producing 3 exceptionally valuable research papers. His efforts paid off handsomely when Zhang Yang promptly handed him 500,000 in cash. Wei Feng used the money to hire the best physical performance coach for his girlfriend while personally tutoring her academic subjects. His constant travels caused his grades to plummet, landing him at the bottom of his class during the first semester finals of sophomore year, yet he remained unfazed, confident his natural smarts would help him catch up quickly with some studying. I couldn't care less about him. My brother had already gone abroad for college. While I was preparing all the paperwork to transfer to a high school in Country M during the second semester of 11th grade, I've been studying like crazy this lifetime. I'm determined to get into H University's medical school. My dad was pleasantly surprised by my drive, but also worried about me. He said our family's well off enough for me to live like a princess forever, so why burn the midnight oil studying? Leaning against my father, I said, I love how doctors heal and save lives. What's the point of just shopping and living for men my whole life? I want to make my own mark. Hard work pays off. My STA scores were outstanding. Plus, I'd been involved in various charity initiatives since freshman year, particularly in combating human trafficking of women and children. My substantial contributions had earned me considerable influence domestically. In the end, I got into H University without a hitch. My dad was bursting with pride, praising me non-stop. You're sharper than your brother, he said. Do you know how competitive H University's medical program is? Snuggled in his arms, I thought, like father, like daughter. Dad's genes really came through, and my brother's amazing too. Without his tutoring, I'd never have scored so high on the STA exam. Before starting school, I went back home for vacation. I heard news about Wei Feng and Jiang Xia. Jiang Xia had been eagerly preparing for art school auditions, but shockingly failed Beijing Film Academy's preliminary round. Too proud for other schools, she's considering retaking the exams, but Wei Feng was already overwhelmed by his own troubles at this point. His romantic relationship had caused his studies to suffer, but the root issue was his overconfidence. Viewing the college entrance exams through the lens of being a reincarnated individual, he arrogantly assumed his past brilliance guaranteed success. He'd forgotten how long it had been since he'd engaged with this knowledge. Relearning everything systematically required real effort. Though Wei Feng bombed the exams and missed his dream school, Peking Union Medical College, his scores were still good enough for a prestigious provincial normal university. A fallen phoenix is still worth more than a common chicken. Like Jiang Xia, Wei Feng refused to settle for an ordinary university. He wanted to retake the college entrance exams, but his family wouldn't fund it. They insisted teaching colleges were perfectly fine, guaranteeing him an iron rice bowl as a future educator with generous retirement benefits. Wei Feng was tormented, knowing one wrong move in choosing his major would set off a chain reaction of missteps, leaving him perpetually playing catch-up. He grew weary of his one-sided devotion to Jiang Xia. After the Gaokao, he fought endlessly with his girlfriend, blaming Jiang for derailing his life. Typical man. The grass is always greener on the other side, but once the novelty wears off, this is what you get. Somehow he heard I got into Harvard Medical School and was so shocked he couldn't eat for 3 days. In the end, my brilliant ex-husband still came crawling back to me, his long-suffering former wife. When his career needed saving, Wei Feng called me up, asking to meet at the park we used to frequent in what feels like a past life. 17, NN, long time no see, you've become even more beautiful, Wei Feng said from the park bench, noticeably thinner as he extended a box toward me. Got your favorite candied hawthorns and donkey rolls, bet you couldn't find these overseas. I ignored his offering, unscrewing my thermos to sip bird's nest soup instead. Wei Feng sighed, heard you got into H University's medical school, MHM. I smiled faintly before asking pointedly, and you? Which prestigious domestic university did you attend? Wei Feng hung his head in shame. Fumbling for a cigarette, just some no-name college. Suddenly, tears streamed down Wei Feng's face. I regret everything. If only I'd known. And then, I realize now it's you I truly love, I scoffed. What you really realized is how hard your path became without my support, and now suddenly you love me. Wei Feng flushed crimson. How could you think that of me? We grew up together, weathered every storm side by side all these years. I cut off his nonsense. Spit it out. What do you want? Wei Feng took a deep breath, gazed at me with feigned tenderness, and knelt before me. I want to start over with you, and then, you're the pure angel here. That slut Jiang Xia wasn't even a virgin when we got together. My patience was wearing thin. Stop beating around the bush, get to the point. Wei Feng looked up at me, and then, could you help me apply to H University? You know my talents. I could write papers for you, assist your research. Together we'd make an unbeatable academic couple. I tilted Wei Feng's chin up. Not entirely impossible, except, a fervent hope flashed in Wei Feng's eyes. Except what? I smiled coyly. You know how much I despise Jiang Xia, yet you'd die for her, spend fortunes on her. Darling, I'm jealous. Then I played him that bathroom recording from back then. Jiang Xia's mocking and belittling remarks about Wei Feng cut straight to the bone. Wei Feng's face darkened instantly as he spat out. I was a fool back then, selling my most valuable research paper for trash like her. Don't worry, and then, every cent I transferred to her was labeled as a loan. She'll pay back every penny she ever took from me. A chill ran down my spine. Look at you, Wei Feng. The self-proclaimed knight of pure love who once knelt before me for Jiang Xia's sake. Yet from the very beginning with her, you were already guarded, scheming against her. The moment she lost her usefulness, you turned on her without a second thought. I curled my lips into a faint smile at the man. Fine, prove to me you still love me. 18, after finding hope in me. Wei Feng left in high spirits. I took out my phone and called my bodyguard. Well, the bodyguard whispered, Miss, as you instructed. I observed from the shadows, just as you predicted. Jiang Xia secretly eavesdropped on your conversation with Wei Feng. Got it. I hung up the phone. That's right. I deliberately let Jiang Xia find out about my contact with Wei Feng after returning to the country. Even our private meetings. Wei Feng is cold to the core, and Jiang Xia is no less icy. Back then, she'd grovel to please me just to date my brother. Now she'd sell herself to Wei Feng for money and her Beijing Film Academy dreams. The mantis stalks the cicada. Unaware of the oriole behind this despicable pair, besides me, there's also Zhang Yang. What made Jiang Xia suddenly come to her senses and decide to apply to the Beijing Film Academy? It was Zhang Yang who secretly reached out to her and gave her guidance behind the scenes. Zhang Yang had long figured out that Wei Feng needed money, and since he and his father needed Wei Feng's thesis, of course they'd investigate him thoroughly. Though they couldn't comprehend how a high school student could produce such an impressive thesis, original, with fresh and professional insights, they reluctantly concluded the poor kid must be a genius, or perhaps some kind of reincarnated scholar. How could the Zhang father and son possibly settle for mere cooperation when faced with such an enormous treasure trove? They discovered Wei Feng demanded the money for Jiang Xia's sake. This proves Zhang Yang had been in contact with Jiang Xia long before. Now Jiang Xia heard with her own ears Wei Feng's intention to cut ties and even demand repayment for what he'd spent on her. Do you really think Jiang Xia would just sit around waiting for death? Revenge has many forms, but isn't it more entertaining to watch the hounds tear each other apart? Before leaving the country, I kept hearing one fascinating story after another. Before Wei Feng confronted Jiang Xia, she had already sought help from Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang couldn't afford to lose Wei Feng, his golden goose, so he'd never let him climb the social ladder by marrying into my family. If Wei Feng studied at a prestigious medical school abroad, he'd gain wealth and influence. Given his cunning and meticulous nature, he might even turn the tables and accuse the Zhangs of plagiarizing his research. Damn right. The Zhang father-son duo conspired with Jiang Xia to keep Wei Feng under their control. 19. Wei Feng's dreams and hopes were shattered during that summer after high school graduation. Not only was he denied admission to H University's medical school, but he couldn't even get into that domestic teacher's college. Zhang Yang imprisoned him in the basement of his home, brutally beating and torturing Wei Feng to force him to write academic papers. Wei Feng refused to comply. Zhang Yang then injected him with drugs to control him through addiction. Zhang Yang and Jiang Xia would even have sex right outside the cage deliberately, tormenting him with this cruel humiliation. They impersonated Wei Feng's tone when sending money home with reassurances, claiming to be juggling work and studies. too busy to visit. They psychologically manipulated Wei Feng's mother Wan Chui by forging bitter letters in his voice, blaming his parents for being useless burdens who ruined his chance to retake exams, though allegedly hating his family. The letters stated he'd still filially send 800 yuan monthly, while demanding Wan Chui never visit campus lest her shabby appearance shame him. I knew every detail of this. My brother once asked me, "This Wei Feng seems to be in a rough spot. Should we help him?" As if, "Do I look like a pushover to you?" So I told my brother a story, one from our past life. After hearing it, he held me tight and wept for a long time before saying, "You've grown up. There's no need to pity a wolf. He's getting what he deserves." 20. My 4-year study abroad journey was fulfilling and extraordinary, though research papers and coursework nearly drove me crazy at times. It was that satisfying kind of madness. I'd planned early to pursue graduate studies and successfully secured admission. After graduating from business school, my brother returned home to become Dad's right-hand man and took over the family business during the pre-semester break. I heard some interesting news again. Jiang Xia and Zheng Yang got together. After failing her college entrance exams, she retook the year with her boyfriend's support and eventually got into film school the following year. She's now played supporting roles in several TV dramas and films, becoming a minor celebrity. As for Zheng Yang, he's published dozens of groundbreaking papers in medicine, emerging as a brilliant young star in the field. Remarkably, this associate chief physician focuses solely on research and rarely performs surgeries. Not long ago, Zheng Yang and Jiang Xie got engaged, a perfect match between a talented scholar and a beautiful lady. As for Wei Feng, after 4 years, Wei Feng's mother Wan Chui finally sensed something amiss. She had secretly gone to the city multiple times searching for her son, only to be shocked upon learning he'd never even registered at the school. Wan Chui was frantic. Where on earth was her son? In desperation, she went to the police. The officers could do little, as Wei Feng had maintained contact with his family over those 4 years, and the handwriting in the letters was undoubtedly his. Perhaps Wei Feng had gone off to work somewhere and simply didn't want to stay in touch with his family. In utter despair, Wan Chui came to our house again, kneeling and begging my father and brother for help. A mother's intuition never lies. She just knew Wei Feng was in trouble. 4 years later, it was finally time to bring closure to this matter. My brother helped Wan Chui to her feet, speaking gently as he promised to look into it, though he cautioned her not to get her hopes up. A month later, my brother and the hired detective rescued Wei Feng from the hidden basement in Zhang Yang's house. My brother had someone remove the surveillance footage to make it look like Wei Feng escaped alone. 21. Wei Feng was completely unrecognizable. His hair was unnaturally long for a man who used to be fastidious, his nails caked with dirt, his body reeking of urine and filth. Years without sunlight left his skin an unhealthy ashen gray. He flinched from daylight, avoided eye contact, and his body was covered with scars, from whips, cigarette burns, and knife wounds. Nightmares haunted him almost daily. The moment anyone approached, he'd immediately drop to his knees begging for mercy. Even eating meals while kneeling became habitual. The worst part, he got hooked on drugs. During withdrawals, the agony drove him to bite off a chunk of flesh from his own mother's arm. Serves him right, truly. On the last day of July, I visited Wei Feng at a private hospital. I placed the roses by his bedside. He was hooked to an 4 drip, his sunken eyes fixed blankly on the ceiling while murmuring incoherently, sensing someone's presence. Wei Feng turned his head mechanically. After a long, vacant stare, recognition finally dawned. Is that you?" I nodded quietly. Tears welled in his clouded eyes. "I'm sorry I broke our promise." That summer after senior year, they locked me away. His lips trembled violently as he struggled to raise his right hand. That's when I noticed all his fingers had been chopped off. "I'm finished. My life is ruined. That damned couple, they've robbed me of ever holding a scalpel again." I smiled faintly. "You're mistaken." Wei Feng struggled upright. What do you mean? Are you saying, there's still hope for me?" I shook my head. "What I mean is, you were doomed from our past life." Wei Feng looked utterly confused. "What are you talking about?" I stood up, looking down at him. "In our past life, you slapped me and rushed off in your car for Jiang Xia only to crash and die. There are 2 things you never knew. First, your blow made me miscarry our twin babies." Wei Feng's mouth fell open as he stared at me in disbelief, fat tears rolling down. "I'm so sorry. Save your apologies. I won't accept them," I said coldly. "Here's the second thing you never knew. When Jiang Xia called you claiming she had pancreatic cancer and wanted to see you before she died, she was actually playing truth or dare with Zhang Yang at a bar. She lost. And her punishment was to confess her feelings to her pathetic backup option. Wei Feng completely broke down. Coughing violently until he spat up blood, I stepped aside just in time to avoid the filthy blood staining my shoes. Before leaving, I smiled at him and said, "After seeing the world, I finally understand how pathetically small my last life was, wasting it orbiting a man like you, Wei Feng. You've always been a joke, in this life and the last." 22. In the early hours a few days later, I was jolted awake by my brother's phone call. My brother told me Wei Feng was in trouble. He bought a sharp knife and lurked near the Zhang family villa for 2 days before sneaking in and murdering both father and son. Not just killing them, he dismembered their bodies and cooked the flesh. On the third evening, the rising star Jiang Xia returned. The moment she stepped inside, Wei Feng threw sulfuric acid in her face. Not only was Jiang Xia disfigured, but Wei Feng also severed her tendons. As a former top neurosurgeon in his past life, he knew precisely where to cut with a scalpel to inflict unbearable pain without being fatal. They couldn't decide whether to mock me or pity me. After exacting his revenge, Wei Feng lost all will to live and chose to end his life by jumping from a building. He left behind a suicide note and surveillance footage, detailing in the letter how Jiang Xia had deceived him and how the Zhang father-son duo had imprisoned him. On the final page of the letter, he apologized to his mother and to a lover he'd failed across 2 lifetimes. He knew the girl found him repulsive. She didn't even want him uttering her name again. He held no illusions of her forgiveness, repaying his debt to the girl and their 2 children with his own life. He said he wouldn't choose to be human again in the next life. The pain was too much to bear. The Zhang family massacre and Wei Feng's suicide case remain under investigation. My brother told me to stay out of it. He's handling everything with the police. My father and I boarded the flight to Country M. Dad's been wanting to visit my school for ages. The real reason, he heard I'm dating an MIT PhD candidate and wants to check the guy out. I shook my head with a smile, leaning against Dad's shoulder as we watched the clouds drift by outside. Oh, this old man. Story 2. I scored 605 on the college entrance exam, but my boyfriend tampered with my application, landing me in a second-tier university. After taking everything precious from me, he casually said he found girls like me who lacked self-respect disgusting. I drowned by accident, and my spirit hovered in the air, witnessing 3 months of absurd drama. My grandmother, who refused to pay my tuition, pocketed 100,000 in compensation from the school. The cheating ex who got guaranteed grad school admission, woke up to find myself back in senior year. That haunting question echoes in my mind. You could have made it to Tsinghua or Peking University. Why didn't you? Damn right. Why? How is this fair? Clenching my fists. This time, no one will crush my dreams. Dark transformation in progress, only to get cornered by the school bully. How the hell did I get 3 answers for this problem? Teach me now. 1. 3 months after drowning, I was reborn. I opened my eyes to find myself back in my senior year classroom. My previous life, I scored 605 on the college entrance exam. But my boyfriend tampered with my application, changing my guaranteed spot at a top-tier university to a local second-rate college. When I received the admission letter, I was shaking with rage. I tentatively asked Grandma about repeating the year, only to be met with her jabbing finger and furious scolding. Girls are nothing but money pits. You turned down the betrothal gifts for school, and now you want to quit. You'll go get engaged today, with no other choice. I enrolled in a second-tier college, the same one my boyfriend got into. In my junior year, I foolishly believed my boyfriend's empty promise about taking our first love all the way to marriage, and gave him everything precious I had. He casually sneered, "Zhou zhao zhao, girls like you with no self-respect are downright disgusting." Then he turned around and confessed to the department's beauty queen with theatrical solemnity, real conquest. Dragging her off that pedestal and stomping on her. God damn, that's the ultimate rush. Seeing my boyfriend's bragging post online shattered me completely in that moment. Sobbing uncontrollably, I stumbled and fell into the school's artificial lake, submerged in water, unable to breathe. I couldn't even muster the strength to struggle. When consciousness returned, I found my body semi-transparent, floating mid-air. Looks like he's dead. Guess we'll just wait for the Grim Reaper to collect him. Little did we know, while waiting around, we'd be treated to quite the spectacle first. The moment Grandma reached the school gate, she popped a heart attack pill, sobbing as she pulled a protest banner from her cloth bag. Give me back my precious granddaughter's life. In the end, we took the 100K compensation and went home with my younger brother. Completely satisfied, my boyfriend was sobbing uncontrollably, telling everyone I was his first love, gentle and quiet, never the type to take my own life. He swore to get to the bottom of it. The school administration eventually promised him guaranteed grad school admission, so he happily took the department's prettiest girl to a hotel, only me, just me, floating mid-air, watching their performance, the crowd dispersing, then being swiftly forgotten. Oh wait, there's one more. Every day by the lake, finishing a whole cigarette. Never failing to mutter "fucking moron" before leaving. What the hell, I thought I'd keep drifting like this forever. Had even mapped out a 5-year plan, when suddenly, life shoved me hard. It felt like being face-planted into sand. Pressure crashed over me, my chest tightened, leaving me gasping for air. When I blinked awake, our balding homeroom teacher was hyping himself up at the podium. "Class, this is your final semester of senior year. The moment of truth is here." Whoa, I'd been reborn, too. In the silent classroom, my breathing sounded unnaturally loud. "Zhou zhao zhao, there's no need to be this nervous. You're the top student in our grade. Getting into a 211 university is well within your reach." The homeroom teacher didn't expect such an intense reaction and ended up comforting her instead. A snicker erupted from the back of the classroom. "Mr. Son, what Zhou zhao zhao fears isn't failing the exam. She deliberately drew out her words. That she won't be able to sell her Gaokao results. The remark sent the entire class into fits of laughter. My temples were still throbbing as I kept my eyes shut, too drained to lift my head. That voice, I'd recognize it anywhere. Zhang Ting. For all 3 years of high school, she never stopped spreading that rumor about me being a school slut. I ranked 3rd citywide in the high school entrance exams, securing my spot at Municipal No. 1 High, when people congratulated her. Grandma initially waved them off impatiently, muttering, "What's the use of a girl doing well in exams? Marrying well is what really matters." But after a few phone calls, her perspective broadened, and she began gleefully comparing offers like a shrewd merchant. She eventually negotiated a savvy deal for 50,000 yuan, effectively selling me to No. 10 high school by forcing me to change my application. The school administrators wept with joy, exclaiming, "In 3 years. We'll finally produce a Tier 1 university candidate." No, a 211 project graduate. I'm completely numb to it, but Grandma was over the moon, bought a gaming console for my little brother, installed a big screen TV at home, then patted the bank card in my pocket with a smile. "This is for my precious grandson's college fund," of course, even though my brother only ended up going to a vocational school. Grandma kept telling everyone that sending girls to school was just to earn tuition money for the boys. Soon every middle and high school in the city knew the girl who ranked 3rd in the entrance exams chose some bottom-tier school just for 50 grand. I became the butt of jokes for 3 straight years because of it. I'd been swallowing my pride for 3 years, but unfortunately, I'm no longer the old Zhou zhao zhao. Now I'm Zhou, the ghost queen of a university Zhao zhao. Everyone said this school was haunted, but I never believed it until I became a ghost myself. On Campus A, even the cliques among ghosts outnumber those of the living. During those 3 months, I got beaten up daily as the newbie specter, but while the living can be beaten to death, the dead can't be pummeled back to life. Just left howling in pain, after weeks of taking hits, I finally snapped and fought back, discovering an unexpected talent for brawling, with my STEM background. Concepts like leverage, torque, airflow, pressure, and electromagnetic fields became surprisingly handy when brawling with spirits. Before my rebirth, I was rallying my crew to establish our own turf, aiming to dominate a university's spirit world within 5 years. But now, my empire building got cut short by this untimely reincarnation. I may never become the underworld kingpin of a university's spirit realm, but facing my old friends again, I'm no longer the timid pushover I used to be. I cleared my throat and spoke deliberately. At least I'm selling results, unlike some people who sell themselves. In the back row, Zhang Ting froze for a second before springing to her feet. "Who are you talking about? Whoever stands up is who I mean. Don't you dare make baseless accusations. Isn't it you who gets a boyfriend whenever you can't afford new shoes?" I turned and gave her a composed smile. For 3 years in high school, I bit my tongue, but that doesn't mean I didn't know all the gossip. Zhang Ting's face flushed and paled alternately, her lips trembling with rage. "I did no such thing." "That's right, she didn't. Zhou zhao zhao, stop slandering decent people." Up front, Zhang Ting's girlfriends were getting worked up too. I gave her a glance but couldn't be bothered to engage. I just kept telling Zhang Ting, "Stop wasting your time picking fights with me. You'd better keep an eye on your little friend. Don't be the fool who gets played while laughing it off." If I remember right, that friend of hers ended up skipping the college entrance exams altogether. A year later, she was holding a baby at her wedding. To Zhang Ting's current boyfriend, Funny how getting married and having kids right after graduation somehow counts as a life path at this high school. Zhang Ting scanned the classroom, her face burning with humiliation. After all her trash-talking about others being promiscuous, she'd been exposed as the real hypocrite. She grabbed the nearest water glass and hurled it straight at me. I dodged sideways just in time. The glass struck her best friend square on the forehead, and blood instantly gushed out. The classroom erupted into chaos. I sat perfectly still, save for a single drop of blood splattering onto the back of my hand. That warm sensation finally gave tangible meaning to the word rebirth. I slowly raised my head. Amidst the chaos diagonally behind me, Jiangyu leaned against the wall with an amused smirk. He didn't even bother to check if I was hurt. Not exactly boyfriend material. It suddenly dawned on me. Right. I wasn't reborn just to engage in petty arguments. I'm here to fulfill unfinished dreams, and make those who once feasted on my corpse pay the price. 3. Zhang Ting's friend was sent to the infirmary while Zhang Ting herself got dragged to the dean's office. The commotion continued as I leafed through the test papers spread on the desk, most of which were already completed. Having studied math at University A in my past life while preparing for grad school, I found this high school seniors exam surprisingly easier than expected. Picked up the pen, circled a mistake, and corrected it. Jiangyu finally walked over, effortlessly snatched the pen from my hand, tossed it aside, then grabbed the test paper, ripping it in half with a tear. Screw this test. Come game with me at the internet cafe, he said, pausing when he met my icy glare. Right, I'd always found Jiangyu rather puzzling. In this so-called elite class of 10th high, we were essentially the top students, the best of a mediocre bunch. Aside from those planning to work or marry right after graduation, some still hoped to push themselves for college entrance exams. Jiangyu was one of them. Unfortunately, he had poor test-taking nerves. While his regular scores met top-tier university standards, he'd always choke during major exams. During the final joint exam of senior year, he failed both math and science sections, and only completed half of his Chinese essay. From that point on, his confidence completely shattered. I absolutely detest exams and test papers, can't even stand seeing me work on them. In my past life, I thought he was just in a bad mood, but when I saw his smug post, dragging her off her pedestal, it all clicked. Some maggots, trapped in their own filth, will drag others down just to have something to trample on. The closer you are to him, the less you're allowed to stand taller. The glance I shot at Jiangyu carried unmistakable hatred and revulsion. The icy glare honed from battling demons must have been terrifying. Exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQID 1797328031. He visibly shuddered. How had I never noticed Jiangyu was such a coward before? I nearly burst out laughing, but I held back. How to get back at a scumbag, give him a taste of his own medicine. I closed my eyes briefly, then reopened them with the same gaze I'd given him back in high school. Innocence, joy, attachment. Sure. I compliantly rose to my feet. Jiangyu visibly relaxed, thinking I was still the same old Zhou Zhao Zhao. The internet cafe is near the school. This neighborhood has no 10 high and no 13 high, both notorious for being lousy schools, so the internet cafes were packed right after the semester started. As we walked in, we ran into some kids from no 13 high. I'd just sat down next to Jiangyu and put away my phone when he shot me a disapproving look. Aren't you going to get me lunch? It's been so long that I've completely forgotten. Even though we could have ordered delivery, Jiangyu always enjoyed bossing me around to fetch his meals. The round trip from the internet cafe to his favorite diner took a good half hour on foot. No scallions, ginger, or garlic, but extra cilantro, right? I struggled to recall. He shot me a dead look before turning back to the screen, initiating the parachute drop. His gaze never returned to me. In my past life, this would have crushed me, but now, all I see is an opportunity. At the bar by the entrance, I hastily paid the bill and bumped into someone. You blind or what? How dare you mess with our boss? Shouted a lanky guy who looked like a bamboo pole. But my eyes locked onto the person I'd collided with, Suzhua, the notorious school bully from 10th high. In my past life, though we'd crossed paths in high school, I always kept my distance. We never interacted. Our first real conversation happened at University A. On registration day, he summoned me outside the dorm and stood there for ages, staring straight at me. You actually came to this kind of school too, dumbass. After a long pause, he dropped this baffling remark and left. For 3 months after my death. It was him, Suzhua, who showed up without fail every day by the lake to call me a dumbass. What a lunatic. When I returned to senior year and met Suzhua, I realized he's the real dumbass. Choosing to be a school bully already screams low IQ. His lackeys had hair dyed like Christmas lights, a rainbow mess. That beanpole with green hair acted so cocky, practically begging people to underestimate their brain cells. Suzhou wasn't much better himself. His medium-length hair was dyed silver gray and tied back, but his sharp, delicate features just barely pulled off the look, though the oversized logo hoodie and ripped jeans were way too edgy for mainstream taste. Zhou zhao zhao, Suzhou drawled, leaning lazily against the bar with an unreadable look in his eyes. I don't have time for his cryptic games, we're already running late. So you're the famous boss of 10th High? I asked. The lanky guy bristled. What's that supposed to mean? You looking for a fight? Only then did I realize how provocative that sounded. I shook my head. No, but stay right here. Don't move. As I dashed out of the internet cafe, the lanky guy behind me was still fuming. Boss, isn't that girl way too cocky? Yeah, Suzhou's drawn-out reply carried unmistakable mockery. I came back panting with the takeout, and sure enough, Suzhou was still at the counter. He hadn't budged an inch. Still in the exact same position, only now with a cigarette between his fingers. His crew had been chatting and gaming, but they all scrambled to their feet the moment I walked back in. They peered cautiously over my shoulder. So do I really give off that gang boss vibe now? I walked straight up to Suzhou. Do you know me? Resource group pushpin WeChat. QQ number 1797328031. He snorted through his nose and rolled his eyes, without answering. He took a shallow drag of his cigarette and slowly exhaled, letting thin wisps of white smoke drift between us. So I was asking a dumb question. Wait, back in freshman year, was it you who stopped them from tearing my books and breaking my stuff? I choked out between coughs. My admission was essentially bought, which sparked widespread resentment among classmates. The bullying came thick and fast, but by second semester, things gradually improved. The physical harassment stopped, leaving only occasional verbal jabs and gossip. I'm truly content with this. I overheard someone who tore my book getting scolded by others. The boss said not to touch her stuff, just curse at her a bit and be done with it. As expected, people never change out of genuine remorse. Only fear ever reforms anyone. I always thought the boss they mentioned was Jiang Yu, and he certainly implied and allowed that impression to persist. That's why I was so grateful and obedient to him in my past life. Later, I saw his bragging post saying, I didn't have to lift a finger, just strung her along, and she gave me everything. Only then did I realize my so-called first love had been built on lies from the very beginning. Looking back now, the boss those people kept mentioning could only be the school bully Suzhou. He stubbed out his cigarette and gave a nonchalant what? The tone was challenging, but his lazy eyes held a hint of anticipation. Normally at this point, someone would follow up by asking why he helped me, but I just won't. If in my past life I still feared Suzhou somewhat, after witnessing his ridiculous antics following my death, now all I feel toward him is pure speechlessness. You love playing the aloof ice prince, love calling me dumbass, then by all means, stay frosty. It's nothing. I shrugged with a casual smile. Pulling a cola from the plastic bag, I handed it over. Thanks. Suzhou wore a visibly stifled expression. He didn't take it, his face darkening instantly. Is this it? A free drink that came with the meal, and you're giving it to me? What do you take me for? I pulled out the receipt from the bag and waved it in front of him. It's not free. I bought it specially. Suzhou actually took the receipt and scrutinized it, his face darkening like a storm cloud. 2 bottles. One for that Jiang whatever. And I just get the leftover one. My face darkened in disbelief. I never expected him to be this sharp. Jiang Yu doesn't drink cola. He says it'll kill. The last word died in my throat as Suzhou looked ready to explode. He straightened up, advancing with menacing steps, practically grinding his teeth. Zhou zhao zhao. Am I not a man? Pinned against the wall, I was utterly speechless. That claim had zero scientific basis. Whatever. He probably wouldn't get it anyway. I wedged the soda can into the hole of his ripped jeans and just let go, not caring if it fell. Since I love Coke, I got you one too. Take it or leave it. Under Suzhou's complicated gaze, I shoved his chest aside and slipped free from his grasp. By the way, stop wearing these thin pants, you'll get arthritis. And learn some manners instead of cursing all the time. The lanky guy only found his voice after I'd walked several meters away, shrieking, Boss! This chick actually dares to tell you what to do. This time I couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. At that moment, I didn't realize it was the first genuine happiness I'd felt since my rebirth. Jiang Yu lost several games in a row, even got instantly wiped in one match, then took his frustration out on me by blaming the takeout I bought. I let him grumble away while carefully peeling shrimp and removing veins for him. Sujua walked past us, still acting all cocky. But he was clutching that half-empty cola bottle in his hand. After finishing the plate of shrimp, I rubbed my hands sheepishly and said to Jianyu, "Gonna wash my hands real quick." He curled his lips slightly without even lifting an eyelid. When I re-entered the internet cafe through the side door, I didn't return to Jianyu's side. Instead, I quietly slipped into a secluded corner, retreating further into the shadows to conceal myself, waiting for the spectacle about to unfold. Didn't look carefully, but there was actually a private booth behind me, and I accidentally backed into the door, swinging it open. Inside, Sujua was sitting at the computer, his well-defined fingers resting casually on the keyboard. He turned to look at me, the irritation in his eyes instantly shifting to amusement. "Oh, so now you want to know the reason." I hurried inside, carefully closing the door behind me, leaving just a tiny crack. "Shoo, shut up," a furious shout came from outside. "Which little shit named Jianyu from No. 10 High School is here? Get your ass out here." The rowdy internet cafe fell deathly silent in an instant. All eyes turned toward the source of the noise, the notorious school bully from No. 13 High standing at the entrance. 5. In his arms clung his whimpering, delicate girlfriend. Throughout high school, I made it my business to know all the bullies from No. 10 and No. 13 High, not for drama, but for strategic avoidance. These students couldn't care less about grades, not that it would matter anyway. Gang fights, however, are pretty much the norm here. Surviving in this messed up environment without teachers backing me up, with only my grandma left at home, I had to do whatever it took to protect myself. Jianyu's gaming buddies quietly stood up and wisely distanced themselves from him when they heard the commotion, though they didn't know how their buddy had pissed people off. The 13 tyrants were seeing red. They feared getting splattered with blood when the brawl inevitably broke out. Jianyu visibly panicked. Claim benefits pushpin WeChat, QQ179-732-8031. His face turned deathly pale, utterly bewildered yet trembling in silence. 13 tyrant sneered, slowly advancing toward him, pulled out the phone, shoved it in his face with a vicious grin, slowly swiping through the screen with a finger. "That piece of trash they're talking about in this post, that's you, isn't it?" Jianyu instinctively denied it, but froze when he saw the enlarged photos staring back at him. It was unmistakably him, owner's exclusive ID pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031, the profile of a creep ogling under a girl's skirt at the internet cafe entrance, the sneaky hand groping a girl's butt in the crowded bar, and of course, there's more. The smirk on his face while using a hidden mirror on his shoe to upskirt unsuspecting women, of course. The victims weren't just 13 tyrants' girlfriend, there were many others. How can I see everything so clearly from this distance? Because the poster is me. Before going to buy food for Jianyu, I secretly booted up a computer in the corner and posted this thread on the school forum. The photos of him harassing 13 tyrants' girlfriend were taken today outside the internet cafe, same outfits in every shot. Undeniable evidence. The other photos were accidental shots I took before. Still sitting undeleted in my phone, I had no clue what the mirror on shoes thing meant back then, only asked why he kept bumping into other girls. Jianyu claimed it was just an accident, yet blamed me for thinking the worst of him. In my past life, I actually believed him and even blamed myself. It wasn't until I became a ghost that I finally saw the ugliness in his heart. Jianyu was actually quite handsome and popular with girls. By all rights, he shouldn't have been like this. But he had this flaw. His ambition soared higher than the sky. He thought the whole world was beneath him, yet resented everyone for having it easier and better than he did. Pathetic and laughable. He tore up my test papers out of envy for top students, then groped a school bully's girlfriend to spite him. In his deluded secrecy, he savored the thrill of petty revenge. Then he turned around and shamelessly accused the girl who trusted him wholeheartedly of having no self-respect. Disgusting. Students who saw the post found it equally revolting. Comments identified Jianyu in the photos, with some even posting damning evidence. The post went viral within minutes. When I went to wash my hands, I was just waiting for 13 tyrants to come settle the score. Before Jianyu could even snap out of his daze, 13 tyrants already slapped him across the face. "Think carefully before you speak. I can't stand liars. Was it you or not?" Another slap landed. The force of those two slaps was evident from the immediate swelling on Jianyu's face. Stunned by the blows, he stammered, "Why yes, it was me." Just before the third strike landed, he raised his arm to block it. "But this was all my girlfriend's idea. Yes, she made me film it." Jianyu nervously swallowed hard, pointing at the seat I just vacated. "Her bag's still here. She'll be back any minute. His eyes darted around frantically searching for me. I could barely suppress my laughter. Jiangyu was being such a pathetic coward. Even the notorious 13 tyrants fell for his bluff. Scanning the room with him. So where's your girlfriend? Pressed against the doorframe, I instinctively recoiled and bumped into Suzhua behind me. He was sneaking peeks at the drama too. I looked up. He gazed down. That smug grin on his face didn't escape my notice. 6. Regretting dating that Jiang, what's his name yet? Can't expect ivory from a dog's mouth. He sure knows how to twist the knife. Not only that, he yanked me aside and boldly reached out to pull. The door swung open. Caught completely off guard, I was abruptly thrust from darkness into blinding light. Multiple gazes locked onto me, sending my heart racing as I desperately calculated which exit route would result in the least beating. Suzhua suddenly stepped forward, shielding me with his body. His towering 6-foot frame completely blocked my view. Are you brain dead? 13. What woman wants to look at another woman? Even if she did, why wouldn't she touch herself instead of letting some creep do it for her? Are you stupid or what? Why did Suzhua have to take a swipe at me right now? 13's rage was boiling over, but his expression shifted instantly when he turned and saw it was Suzhua. Oh, Brothers was here today too, huh? He released his grip on Jianyu's shoulder and asked tentatively, this kid goes to your 10th high. Don't tell me you're looking out for him. Suzhua sneered, I don't take in trash. This coward makes me sick just looking at him. Casually grabbing a stick from the corner, he tossed it to 13 tyrants. I've got college entrance exams to worry about. Just rough him up a bit. Don't bring the cops down on us. 13 tyrant grinned, tapping the bat against his palm. Got it, boss Shua. Stalking toward Jiangyu step by step. Which filthy hand of yours touched my girl, you bastard? I craned my neck to watch, but Suzhua shoved me into the private room. Click, the door locked. It's too gory. Don't want to scare a good student like you. Jiangyu's blood-curdling scream came from outside. A shiver ran down my spine, but I almost laughed. Then 2 warm hands covered my ears. Don't be scared. Nothing serious will happen. Even 13 wouldn't dare barge in. Suzhua chuckled lowly. So brave with me, yet such a coward otherwise. The faint scent of tobacco lingered on his fingertips, normally something I detest, but now, my already fearless heart seems to have grown even calmer. Fine, I've decided not to tell him how I beat that vengeful spirit so badly even the king of hell wouldn't recognize it. Sensing the commotion outside was winding down, I waved at Suzhua. I'm out. He looked startled. Where to? Go back and study for your exams. All this trouble I'm causing isn't just to get back at Jiangyu. The main thing is to stop him from disrupting my studies, like I'd sink to that scumbag's level. Suzhua's face went completely blank. I stepped out the door, then turned back. Aren't you going back to study hall? Last life he barely scraped into a tier 2 college just by being the school bully. This time if he actually tries, getting into a tier 1 university should be doable. Green Bamboo and his lackeys were squatting by the entrance on standby, grinning like they'd just heard a joke. Novel collection pushpin WeChat. QQ number 1797328031. Boss, this chick is telling you to hit the books. Ha ha ha. Suzhua looked like he was about to lose it. / shut the hell up. What's so funny? / after study hall, I headed home. The route was familiar. Yet the moment I pushed open the door, everything felt strangely foreign. After starting college, I rarely went home, though my university was local. I spent every holiday working to pay tuition and living expenses. Truth be told, I genuinely didn't want to return to that place that kept trying to trap me. But back in high school, with heavy coursework and empty pockets, breaking free from my family seemed impossible. Bang, a bowl shattered at my feet. I said I'm not eating. Stop nagging. My brother stormed toward the master bedroom, his phone blaring game sounds. Grandma trailed behind, fussing. How can you skip dinner, at your age? You need proper meals to grow strong. Spotting my return, she pointed at the spilled egg custard on the floor. Zhao, clean this up now. Same old story, from infancy to his teens. Grandma's been chasing my little brother around to feed him. Is eating independently really that hard? Stepping over the mess, I tossed my backpack into the tiny balcony cubby. Yep, this is where I live. Mom passed away from childbirth complications when my brother was born. And Dad died in an industrial accident years ago. Now it's just Grandma raising the 2 of us. 7. In our 70 square meter old apartment, my brother gets the master bedroom while Grandma takes the smaller one. They partitioned a tiny space on the balcony with a folding cot. That's where I sleep. To Grandma, my brother represents the last surviving bloodline of the Zhou family. I'm just a money-losing burden who'll be married off sooner or later, but at least it's my own private space. And I'm content with that. When Grandma came out again and saw the floor still in disarray, she yanked open the partition curtain. "Aren't you going to clean up? Do you expect these old bones to get down on the floor and scrub?" I was halfway through changing when I quickly grabbed my pajamas to cover myself. "Why can't he clean up after himself? Since when does your brother do such chores? That's what older sisters are for." I nearly laughed. If he's not meant for chores, what's he good for? Lazing around playing video games, Grandma was so furious she started hitting me. "What's wrong with your brother playing games to unwind after failing his exam? Who asked for your opinion? It's because of your academic success that he's lost all confidence." The room was too cramped, nowhere to dodge. I took 2 solid hits. No point arguing. You can't change old school thinking with a few words. I changed my clothes and cleaned up the broken bowl and egg custard from the floor. Returned to the cubicle, drew the curtain, and started reviewing my study materials. In this household, I never dared hope for a quiet environment or uninterrupted time to complete a test paper. But I'd barely turned 2 pages when Grandma's voice called out again, "Zhao dear, fetch some water for your brother to wash his feet." An angry shout came from the master bedroom. "I won't wash them, damn annoying." Grandma coaxed gently, "Washing your feet helps you sleep better at night, be good now." Then she reminded me, "Zhao dear, don't make the water too hot. Add more warm water after your brother starts washing." My head was splitting with pain. I slammed the book shut and took deep, heaving breaths just to barely calm down, returning to this life again. I found it so suffocating I could hardly breathe. God knows how I endured it last time. Went to the kitchen, filled an enamel basin with hot water, tempered it with cold, and tested it, just the right temperature. Carried it to the master bedroom and set it down by the bed. "Hurry up and wash up. I still need to study after this." My younger brother was sprawled on a crumpled blanket playing Honor of Kings, completely ignoring me. My last shred of patience was fading. "If you don't wash up, Grandma will make my life miserable today. Get moving." The phone announced, "You have been slain." My brother sat up, yelling furiously, "Fuck, can you stop ruining my game?" I crossed my arms and stared at him blankly. "Hurry up and shower. I'm leaving right after. Couldn't stand being here a second longer." His rage suddenly melted into a creepy smirk. "Fine, I'll wash up." I dipped my feet into the basin, then jerked them out with a splash. Water droplets sprayed everywhere, drenching my face and hair. "Ha ha ha, asking me to wash my feet. You wanna drink my foot bath or something?" My little brother howled with laughter, rolling on the bed, wiping the water off my face. I noticed my hands were trembling. The water acted like gasoline, instantly igniting the fury buried deep within. Years of pent-up frustration, righteous anger, and helpless grievances were on the verge of erupting. If only reason hadn't held me back. "I can't afford to burn bridges with my family before becoming independent. Apologize." My voice trembled as I spoke. "Who do you think you are to demand an apology?" My younger brother tilted his head, smiling with innocent cruelty. "Zhou Zhao Zhao, have you forgotten who you really are?" How could I ever forget? Impossible to forget. The name Zhou Zhao Zhao was meant to summon a boy for the Zhou family. The ultrasound supposedly showed I was a boy during pregnancy, but they got a girl at birth. Grandma had originally planned to handle this situation, but Mom's poor health made them fear she couldn't conceive again, so they reluctantly kept me. They stubbornly named me Zhao Zhao in hopes of finally having a proper son to carry on the family name. After years of trying every Chinese and Western medicine, acupuncture, and therapies, they finally got their baby boy. But the delivery went wrong. Mother never made it out of the operating room alive. Grandma never stopped praising Mother, calling her the Zhou family's greatest benefactor. They say Mom took one last look at my brother and felt completely at peace, saying her life was well lived. I used to understand their choices, but over time, something started feeling off, especially in my last life. After starting college, I worked part-time jobs constantly, meeting all sorts of people and seeing countless news stories. We're all human. Yet some are cherished like precious gems while others are chained in basements, stripped of freedom. Some, like me, bear names that aren't truly ours, living lives we were never meant to live. The world isn't flat, I know that much, but I can't fathom why it has to be so rugged. I glared daggers at my brother, enunciating each word. Apologize. Now, my brother's grin widened. You okay there? Talking nonsense again. I bit my lower lip hard, crouched down, and picked up the enamel basin. Splash. A full basin of water came pouring straight down over my little brother's head. The scalding water knocked the breath out of him, leaving him gasping for air, and so, he gulped down mouthful after mouthful of his own foot-washing water. His arrogant demeanor vanished as he stared blankly at his soaked clothes and the expanding water stain on the bed. Then he erupted like a madman, screaming, Zhou, Zhao, Zhao. I finally burst out laughing. Little brother, how does your own foot bath taste? My little brother was sprawled on the bed retching for ages before sticking his finger down his throat. I casually remarked, little bro, that's the same hand you just used to wash your feet. He froze, eyes burning with rage, then lunged at me like a rabid animal. Just another Tuesday for me. Didn't even flinch, pinned his arm against the wardrobe door, immobilizing him completely. Never ate properly growing up, huh? Pathetic. Snatched the enamel basin and slammed it over his head. Grabbed his phone and smashed it against the basin's bottom with a piercing clang. My little brother was howling nonstop as the basin kept shaking. You gonna apologize or what? Screw your apology. I'm going deaf here. Clang, clang, clang. I banged the basin's rim several times. That piercing sound gave me goosebumps even from outside. My little brother was screaming his lungs out. Going to apologize or not? Yes, yes, yes. Damn it. I'm fucking sorry. Zhou zhao zhao. The last sentence was nearly shouted hoarse. Remember this, Zhou zhao zhao won't put up with your nonsense. If you dare mess with me again, you'd better check if you've got what it takes. As the basin was removed, my younger brother stood dazed from the shock, staggering as if about to collapse. Instinctively, I reached out to steady him. In an instant, my hair was violently yanked, not in one solid grasp, but in vicious tufts, nearly tearing patches of scalp clean off. It was Grandma. She truly had more expertise in these scrappy brawling tactics. She actually had the heart to be cruel to her own granddaughter. Seeing Grandma coming to his aid, my brother suddenly perked up and got aggressive, kicking me violently. How dare you hit me? And now you want an apology? Who do you think you are? How dare you hit your brother? You worthless burden. I can't tell whether the physical pain cuts deeper, or the anguish in my heart hurts more at this moment. Owner's exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQ number 1797328031. My own family never treated me as human, then I've got nothing left to care about. Seizing the moment, I gathered all my strength and delivered a vicious kick to my brother's vulnerable spot. After a piercing shriek, the rain of blows finally stopped falling on me. Completely shut down, my brother lay writhing on the ground, curled up like a shrimp, his face as pale as paper. Grandma was so terrified that tears gushed from her eyes as she threw herself onto him with a thud. My precious boy, are you hurt? Does it hurt? She glared at me with bulging eyes. You worthless girl, you're trying to end the Zhou family line. I casually smoothed my hair that she had tugged on. What does the Zhou family's lineage have to do with me? Zhou zhao zhao. Besides, I deliberately held back that kick. If he's still this pathetic, it just proves the Zhou family's so-called last hope is, well, not much to write home about. In the bedroom, the grandmother and grandson were sobbing in each other's arms, while I packed my school bag in the alcove, completely unfazed. I couldn't help but laugh. I walked out expressionless amid Grandma and my brother's curses. Even the howling midnight wind felt kinder than this house. Before I knew it, I'd wandered back to 10th High. This place I once loathed has become my last resort when there's nowhere else to go. Pity it's pitch black here too. A few steps down the alley, the internet cafe is still buzzing with life. Oh right, you can rent the cafe overnight. But after patting my empty pockets, I hesitated. My allowance has always been meager. Sometimes when I bought meals for Jiangyu and he forgot to pay me back, I had to skimp on my own food to make ends meet. I should have asked him for the meal money before 13 tyrants showed up today. Regret. I kicked at the roadside pebbles, my gaze fixed on the trash bin beside the internet cafe. It was filled with empty water bottles, along with delivery boxes and takeout containers. Granny used to say if we saved them up, we could get a few bucks per pound. I was deep in calculations when I looked up to see Suj was standing before me, hands stuffed in his pockets. No more those ripped jeans. Just proper trousers that actually looked good. Even his hoodie had lost that try-hard vibe, but his expression, well, words failed me. Are you planning to dig through trash? I nodded. That's exactly what I had in mind. Sujwa led me into the internet cafe with a face like thunder. I paused at the entrance of the private room. From what I remembered, the VIP lounge was spacious and lavishly decorated, clearly expensive at first glance. I don't want to split such an expensive bill with you. How about lending me some cash? I'll just grab a seat at the regular tables and pay you back in a few days. Sujwa scratched his head in frustration. Who the hell wants to team up with you? Damn, never thought you'd be this difficult. Without another word, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside. Didn't you tell me to study alone? Fine, tutor me through this test. I'll pay your hourly rate. After a moment's hesitation, I stopped resisting and followed him in my past life as a tutor. Clients initially lowballed my rates because I graduated from a second-tier college, Daily updates pushpin WeChat Japanese symbol for beginner, QQ1797328*031. But when my students' grades improved dramatically, my reputation grew. By junior year, I was commanding premium rates. Suj was definitely getting his money's worth this time. The lights flicked on as Sujwa looked at me with a furrowed brow. He pulled me into the private bathroom. What happened to you? The mirror reflected a disheveled figure, matted hair. 3 bloody scratches across the face, completely drenched and utterly pathetic. I couldn't exactly say I'd been in a fight with family, I sighed. Just to scam a few more empty water bottles from you. Sujwa laughed in frustration. Zhou zhao zhao, you're something else. Just wait, I'll buy a whole case later, dump all the water, and give you every empty bottle. Why waste good water? Are you dumb? Just give me the full case. I'll sell it at 20% off. They stared at each other until one of them burst out laughing. Sujwa's private room was impeccably clean and luxurious, with incredibly comfortable seating. After tidying myself up, I pulled out a test paper from my bag and spread it before him. Time to get writing. He insisted on pressing a band-aid onto my face. I shoved the test paper closer to him again. Get writing. Thirsty. Want me to crack open a water bottle? Sujwa asked. I grabbed the guy who'd just stood up and pushed him back down. Cut the nonsense and write already. Sujwa tossed the gum box lazily in his hand. You're serious about this? No need to go that far. 9. After a moment's thought, it clicked. This is already one of the easier senior year exam papers. If you still find it difficult, I'll find you a freshman level 1 online. The chewing gum hit the floor with a smack. Sujwa narrowed his eyes dangerously. You think I can't solve this? Who exactly are you looking down on? Look down on you. In my past life at a university, I'd occasionally run into Sujwa, but he always acted, strangely, either staring at the sky, or gazing at trees. Once on the sports field with nothing around, he was just looking at his own hands. I kinda get it though. School tough guys tend to be a bit extra with their athleticism, who can truly excel in moral, intellectual, physical, aesthetic, and labor education all at once. But Sujwa, holding his breath in defiance, flipped the paper over and started working on the final problem. Don't be reckless, go easy on yourself. I worried about pushing him too hard. To my surprise, as I watched, his approach to solving the problem turned out to be spot on. Sujwa slammed his finished test paper in front of me with a cocky grin. If this isn't full marks, I'll take your last name. It actually was full marks. Watching him barely conceal his hopeful expression, I could no longer maintain my poker face. Think this is funny? Someone who clearly could ace exams chooses to play the struggling student, just to end up at some mediocre school. You find that amusing. Others struggle so hard to take control of their lives yet end up powerless, while you treat life's opportunities so carelessly, thinking you're hot shit, calling me an idiot. Look who's talking. I never expected to break down crying like this. Even ghosts shed tears sometimes. I didn't cry when I saw my grandmother and boyfriend leeching off me in my name. I didn't cry when a horde of vengeful spirits hunted me down and nearly shattered my soul. Not even after rebirth, when my grandmother and brother beat me together, did I shed a tear. But watching the freedom and opportunities I'd longed for being trampled so carelessly, that finally broke me. In my past life, Jiangyu kept offering congratulations until I received my admission letter and discovered he'd tampered with my college application. My grandmother wouldn't even cover my tuition or living expenses. On my first day of enrollment, I had to apply for student loans, and every weekend after that was spent working odd jobs to make ends meet. All this was painful, but nothing haunted me more than a single sentence. On the day I received my admission letter, I ran into Himayan, an old middle school classmate. He'd just gotten his acceptance letter from Tsinghua University and was eagerly sharing the news with me. Seeing the bold A on my acceptance letter cover shocked them more than it did me. Zhou zhao zhao, you ranked 3rd in our high school entrance exams while I was only 10th. Zhou zhao zhao, you could have gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University too. Why didn't you? That day I fled in utter defeat. Why do I keep questioning myself? Why could have but didn't? When I graduated from middle school, my homeroom teacher excitedly told me that ranking top 3 in the high school entrance exam meant having one foot already in Tsinghua or Peking University. As long as nothing goes wrong. What a pity that my life has been nothing but wrong turns. Sujwa sprang up in alarm as I sobbed uncontrollably, his chair skidding backward across the floor. Please don't cry. I promise I'll study properly and finish all my practice tests from now on, okay? I wasn't scolding you. Every time I sit by the lake, I'm cursing myself. I regret not knowing everything you've been through. Honestly, my family's a mess too. After my parents divorced, they practically wanted to kill each other. Some days I don't even know why I bother getting out of bed. Alright, Zhou Zhao Zhao. We've been given this second chance, let's take our exams seriously and make the most of life. Deal. I wiped my tears. So, you're reborn too. Suzhua froze for 2 seconds. Holy shit. I grabbed the tissue he handed me. So how did you die? He turned away awkwardly, mumbling, well, I just woke up back here. Anyone else get reborn? Nope. That's sure about it. Absolutely, though doubts still lingered. Seeing Suzhua's stubborn refusal to talk without interrogation tactics, I wiped my face and shifted my focus. Every moment in senior year is precious. I really need to get my act together. Pulling out the newly distributed test papers from my bag, I skimmed through them. They were quite well designed, and immediately started working. Suzhua sat stiffly beside me, then after a long pause, nudged my arm, still mad at me. Nope. Then why aren't you helping me with the test papers? How would I know your actual level? Go find your own practice tests. Oh, I didn't sleep a wink all night. It wasn't the private room's fault. The chair was actually quite comfortable. Suzhua kept warning me that staying up late would make me go bald. But I just couldn't fall asleep. Because of Suzhua, I realized he could solve every exam paper I could. No disrespect to the school toughs, but anxiety and dread kept welling up inside me. It finally dawned on me that 10th High had its limits, whether in teachers' instructional skills, exam difficulty, or students' academic levels. 10. In such an environment, even if I remained top-ranked forever, consistently outscoring second place by 100 points, this excellence would still be constrained. In my past life, I gave my all, even overperformed, on the college entrance exam, yet only managed to get into a bottom-tier 985 university in the middle of nowhere. Back in my first year of high school, I naively believed personal effort alone could bridge the gap between schools. Turns out every misstep comes with its price. I had what it took to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. But that ability wasn't destroyed when Jiangyu tampered with my college application. It had already been erased the moment Grandma spent that 50 grand. This realization made my heart sink like a stone, plummeting into the abyss of hopelessness. Hey, Zhou Zhao Zhao. Suzhua waved a hand in front of my dazed eyes. Still hung up on that Jiang guy. Don't sweat it. I'll handle that bastard myself next time. I blinked. Watching his brimming confidence, he's right. Why worry? Being reborn into this moment is fate's greatest mercy already. Even if I could return to middle school, would I truly have the power to choose the life I want? No. I was even weaker back then than I am now. I nodded slowly. If you want to improve your grades, maybe you could ask He Mayan for help. Early in the morning, Suzhua was nowhere to be found. I texted our homeroom teacher Lao Yang to ask for leave. Novel collection pushpin WeChat, QQ account 179-732-8031. Just stake out He Mayan at the entrance of No. 1 High School. Add backup contact pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031. We lost contact after middle school. I heard he kept trying to find me when he first learned I went to No. 10 High. I avoided meeting him, knowing it would only bring more pain and helplessness, but now, I'm determined to give it a shot no matter what. He Mayan was his usual self, yawning lazily as he arrived at school right on the dot. Spotting me crouched by the entrance, he blinked repeatedly. Zhou Zhao Zhao, am I seeing things? Just as I was about to speak to him, the school bell rang. He Mayan waved cheerfully at the security guard, who surprisingly let him pass without further questioning. Relax, my competition results are in. I'm guaranteed admission to Tsinghua. Class attendance doesn't matter anymore. His eyes crinkled with amusement. Zhou Zhao Zhao, it's been years. You must have something important to come find me, right? I had prepared a whole speech and a list of reasons. I wanted to explain how awkward I felt about disturbing them, and how crucial my request really was, but to my surprise, just a few words from them put me at ease. Could I possibly take a look at your school's exam papers? I asked cautiously. Borrow. He Mayan frowned. What do you mean by borrow? Zhou Zhao Zhao, I'd gladly give you the test paper. I can even explain each question to you one by one. Do you have any idea how long I've waited for this day? I've been hoping you'd reach out to me again. He threw his backpack on the ground and unzipped it. It's completely empty inside. Just a bag. Nothing more. Can I borrow a pen and some paper? He reached out awkwardly, using my 3-5 book as a pad. He wrote swiftly, you need test papers, right? Here, take these practice exams, and the monthly tests too. Our weekly math quizzes are well designed. I'll give you all of them. Just practice tests aren't enough. Our teacher compiled this exam key points booklet called Tsinghua One-Shot Wonder. Corny name, but the questions are actually well chosen. I've got my own mistake notebook. Wait, no, those are for competitions. Tell you what, I'll ask our class monitor for their error compilation. Before long, they'd filled an entire page with notes. Mayan arranged to give me a few test sets that evening so I could start studying. The usually sluggish guy perked up as he waved at me and strode into campus. Even letting out a sharp whistle, his energy reignited something in me. A dormant fire began smoldering in my veins again. Putting away my pen and notebook, I clenched my fists and pumped myself up. Turning around, I spotted Sujua leaning casually against a tree, tossed me 2 bags without a word and left. One contained a brand new outfit with tags still attached. The other held a jianbing guizi with double eggs. I went to Mayan to collect the exam papers. After some thought, I decided to just go to the internet cafe. It's the only place where I can focus on solving problems undisturbed. Sujua said that private booth was his yearly reserved spot, telling me to feel free to use it any time. I did the math on the tutoring fees he'd effectively paid me. It was substantial, so I stopped worrying about it. There was something off about Sujua tonight. The shoulder-length hair was trimmed short, the silver gray dyed back to black, clothes neatly pressed and crisp, speech now measured and deliberate. It's fine, really, just doesn't feel like him. Instead of focusing on your studies, why bother with all this? I watched as he somehow produced a pair of glasses and put them on. 11. Sujua leaned against the table, his long legs swinging carelessly. Aren't you into this type? After a brief pause, I replied, Mayan was my middle school classmate. You two are nothing alike. Seeing that look of misunderstanding forming again, I decided to lay it out plainly. At first I thought you were kinda cringy with that edgy style, but you grew on me. Not bad looking actually, Sujua said through gritted teeth with a complicated expression. Zhou Zhao Zhao, you really aren't afraid of me, are you? That evening I swung by home. I kept telling myself on the way, just going back to grab a few things. Don't get your hopes up. Yet reality turned out worse than my lowest expectations. The moment I stepped in, Grandma swung a slap at me. Thankfully I dodged it with ease. Do you have any idea how badly you've hurt your brother? Didn't ask where I went yesterday. Didn't ask where I spent the night. I looked over and saw my brother sprawled on the couch, cursing while playing video games. Too scared to confront me, so they're deliberately turning a blind eye. Must not have heard enough. I walked into my cubicle and started packing my things into a bag. Thankfully there wasn't much, a single large bag held everything. I opened the door and stepped out, ready to leave. Grandma finally called after me. Where do you think you're going? Since when did you start acting up? In my past life, my endless obedience was taken for granted. Now when I dare to stand up for myself, I'm accused of causing trouble. How ridiculous. I'm moving to the dorm, I said wearily. What dorm? We've got food and shelter at home. Why waste good money at school? Grandma's voice rose sharply. Right. Every penny spent on me is wasted. Don't worry, you won't pay a dime for room or board. I need a quiet place to study for my college entrance exams. The moment those words left my mouth, I regretted them. Sure enough, Grandma snapped impatiently. Always studying. What's the point for a girl? Aunt Wang found a family offering a hefty bride price. You'll get engaged right after graduation. That's no way to talk, Granny. Sujua appeared at the doorway unnoticed. Who are you? Granny hunched her already slightly stooped frame, wary. I'm Zhou Zhao's homeroom teacher, Sujua declared without batting an eye, but with his crisp white shirt, black trousers, and gold-rimmed glasses, he did have that refined yet unscrupulous vibe. You think Zhou's here for regular boarding? Think again, she's tutoring our students. We'll provide room and board. Plus pay her a salary. She'll earn way more than any of you. That's what education does for girls, old-timer. Get it now. Granny's eyes lit up the moment she heard about the wages. She pushed me toward the door. Go on then. Just remember to hand your wages to Granny later. Sujua pulled Grandma's hand away. Old lady, pinning hopes on that grandson of yours will leave you starving someday. This girl here's the real golden goose you should be clinging to. I shot him a glare. On our way back to the internet cafe, Sujua swung my bag back and forth like a pendulum. Don't swing it so hard, Dad's old gift mug is in there, I warned. In this house, perhaps he was the only one who ever showed me a little love. That mug was the reward he proudly gave me when I ranked first in my junior high school year. Finally talking to me, Sujua tilted his head. I wasn't wrong earlier, you're the real MVP here. I may be the MVP, but not just anyone gets to ride my coattails. I took a deep breath. They're not worthy. Sujua took 2 quick steps forward, turned around and blocked my path with a mischievous smirk. Then am I worthy? Can I hug you? I stumbled on flat ground, changing the subject. Since I'm taking your tuition fees, I'll have to be as strict with you as I am with my students. Sujua scoffed. bring it on, I'm not scared of you. Arrived at the internet cafe, the place looked completely different. The gaudy cabinets that used to line the wall behind the chairs had all been removed, replaced with a bed, just a tiny bed. I looked up at the culprit with unspoken exasperation. Oblivious, he retorted. What, you're homeless, aren't you? Surely you can't keep sleeping on chairs for 6 months straight. His lips curled into a smirk. Or, you could crash at my place, works for me. My 3000 SQFT apartment's emptier than a ghost town. Honestly, the only functional thing left there is the bed. A violent coughing fit seized me. Back then in my past life, I was still naive about many things, but now, my face burned with scorching heat. Suzhua clutched his stomach laughing. Zhou zhao zhao. Second time's the charm. Finally it's your turn to be at my mercy. Ha ha ha. Relax. I won't mess with you. Just want to give you a comfier study environment. You need proper rest to tutor me well. Right. Makes sense. That evening, after assigning Suzhua's homework, I started working on the test papers Mayan brought me. The more I do it, the more excited I get. I discovered many unfamiliar question types and learned problem-solving approaches from the answer key that our teacher never covered. 12. I finally understand my true capabilities and have identified the direction for my next steps. Suzhua sat nearby chewing gum, mindlessly memorizing vocabulary with massive dark circles under his eyes. It's 2 a.m., Mr. Zhou. Can I turn off the lights and go to bed? Memorize 2 more pages first. The next morning, right after self-study period, a crowd suddenly came pouring in through the back door. The already rowdy classroom grew even noisier as everyone turned to look with curiosity. I took off my earplugs and turned around to see Suzhua standing at the front. They pushed desks and carried chairs, casually arranging them at the back of our classroom. In a flurry, a dozen people formed 2 new rows. What are you guys up to? I walked over. Didn't you tell me to study hard? Well, here I am, not just studying myself, but getting all my buddies to join in, right? He tilted his chin up, looking around smugly. The little string lights responded lethargically. Yay, stop fooling around. Suzhua, we're having a proper class here. My temples were throbbing. Who's fooling around? We're serious about studying too. We even have a study group name. Suzhua's lips curled into a smirk. The lanky kid chimed in. Yeah. Our boss renamed our old Blazing Gang to Blazing Study Group. Pretty cool, huh? That's when I realized the pride on Suzhua's face was genuine. I might have overestimated his IQ. Zhou zhao zhao. I hereby appoint you as the second in command of our Blazing Flame Study Group. Who wants to be second fiddle? My face turned ashen. Fine then, you'll be the leader. I'll be the leader too. We'll be equals. Green Bamboo chimed in. Absolutely. The boss and his lady should be equals. Who's his lady? I shot them a glare and stormed off in a huff. Getting beaten by those vicious ghosts wasn't even this painful. Soon enough, I realized there was actually an advantage to Suzhua and the others sitting in the back. Suzhua handed out test papers to the little troublemakers, forbidding bathroom breaks until they finished writing. The former delinquents now squirmed in their seats, scratching their heads in frustration, too intimidated to even complain. Even the usually chatty and rowdy students at the front of our class became as quiet as church mice. The learning environment improved instantly. Even homeroom teacher Lao Yang froze momentarily upon entering, double-checking the classroom number before stepping onto the podium. Students in the last 2 rows. Are you in the wrong seats? Lao Yang wiped sweat from his forehead. After all, many students at 10th High were beyond teacher's authority to discipline. Suzhua leaned back in his chair, crossing his legs. Mr. Yang, we're here to learn. Your elite class wouldn't look down on underachievers like us, would you? Old Yang gulped. Of course not. Actually, our 10th High's elite class is nothing special at all. They're all equally terrible. He chuckled. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. The teachers really appreciate students who want to learn. For the first time, when the teacher was explaining problems at the podium, students were actually paying attention, with some even raising their hands to ask questions. The man, well over 50, had tears welling up in his eyes. Brilliant. That's an excellent question. After class, old Yang called me into his office. He told me Zhang Ting got disciplinary notice. Her friends initially refused to visit the infirmary, but the examination later confirmed. Old Yang sighed. Things haven't been peaceful at our school lately. Jiang Yu got beaten up too, broken arm and leg. He'll be hospitalized for at least 2 months. Zhou zhao zhao. I can't offer you much help as a teacher. You're a smart kid, just focus on protecting yourself. In my past life, I actually held some resentment toward my high school teachers. I always wondered why they never stood up to do something about all those school bullying incidents. It dawned on me later that teachers are human too. If they can't even steer their own lives, how could they possibly protect those more vulnerable? Meeting old Yang's weary eyes, I nodded. Teacher, you never imagined your dream of educating young minds would end up in a place like this, did you? 13. Old Yang froze at my question, removing his vintage black-framed glasses to wipe them with his shirt hem. Who hasn't complained pointlessly when they were young, teacher? I really think our class could be the best you've ever taught. Do you believe that? I asked earnestly. Old Yang's eyes grew moist. I do. I can tell this class is different. You're all going to do great things. The advanced class at 10th High truly was different. At first, Suzhua would glare at the little sparklers with a dark expression while watching them solve problems. When the sparklers couldn't figure it out, they'd sneak to the front to ask for help. These honor students didn't carry the typical good kid pretensions. They were simply terrified of getting beaten up by the school bullies. Those who understood would meticulously outline each step, starting with solution. If I didn't understand something, I'd figure it out myself and then explain it to the little sparklers. Eventually, studying became second nature. In just a few weeks, the atmosphere became electric. During Monday's morning study session, Old Yang walked in with the monthly exam papers. Class, the moment to test what we've learned is here. Is everyone ready? A few scattered voices replied, ready. The string lights gave no response. The string lights were itching to bolt. Suzhua shot them a warning glare. Focus on your test. No cheating. If I catch anyone with cheat sheets, you're running 10 laps around the field. The students groaned in misery. Everyone took the first monthly exam of senior year's second semester dead seriously. Holy crap, I actually know how to solve this problem. Someone muttered under their breath. What's all the fuss? I can solve over half of this test paper. Someone thought gleefully. I've clearly noticed my own improvement. My problem-solving approaches have become more flexible, and I can even spot answers to complex questions at a glance now. I can finish all the questions in just 2/3 of the time it used to take me. The teacher made the exam too easy to preserve most students' confidence. On results day, Old Yang specially got a big red poster and hand-copied every classmate's score onto it, including those bonus points forcibly squeezed into the last 2 rows. Of course, ironically, they were the most excited ones. Our whole class was staring at the grades in a daze. Some were rubbing their eyes furiously, others scrubbing at their names, all in utter disbelief. Unbelievable. The little colored lights were all bouncing around excitedly. Boss, have you ever seen this? A score starting with 3. Did I really pull this off? I must be a genius. Boss, I went from dead last to 100th from the bottom. Wait, no. 400th from the top. I'm freaking amazing. Suzhua grew increasingly irritated by their racket. All of you, get the hell out. Come back when you're done laughing. He sidled up next to me in a flash, smugly pointing at his name near the top of the list. Just a tiny bit behind you, that's all. 580 versus 680, just a slight difference indeed. His face was practically glowing with expectation for praise. His tail, if he had won, would have been wagging nonstop. I chuckled inwardly. Since when did school bullies act like this? Well done, Sue. That's all thanks to Teacher Zhou's guidance. I smiled, but secretly clenched my fists. 680 isn't enough. I need a perfect score on this exam. Only then might I barely reach the Tsinghua/Beta threshold. I asked Mayan to tutor me at the internet cafe. After going through all the materials he gave me, I've absorbed most of the key points, but when it comes to more advanced or in-depth topics, it's genuinely hard to figure them out without proper guidance. Mayan stood at the private room entrance, carrying his completely empty backpack. Wow, our secret hideout is pretty awesome, Suzhua corrected coldly. It's my secret hideout with Zhou Zhao. Despite his utter dislike for Mayan, Suzhua still pulled up a chair for him. Listen up, if Zhou Zhao fails to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, you're eating that gaming chair. Suzhua deadpanned, sure thing, and if she makes it, you'll be the one chewing on it. Mayan delivered his retort with an infuriating smile. 14, bring it on. Who's afraid of who? The two reached an agreement. Standing by, I pondered whether to go through with it and who'd be the most suitable candidate. Following Mayan's advice, I requested extended leave from my homeroom teacher and spent all my time studying at internet cafes. After all, there's only so much I can still learn at school. Mayan stopped carrying that empty backpack to school every day too. Just tutored me at internet cafes instead. Suzhua would actually do better following the advanced class's pace. The difficulty level suits him perfectly, but he stubbornly refuses. I'm staying right here to watch you, he shouted. I couldn't help but frown. I'll just observe your tutoring session. Aren't you supposed to be earning your teaching fee by coaching me? His voice grew much quieter. Fair point. but I found that studying with Sujwa doubles the effectiveness. He wouldn't listen when Mayan explained it, insisting I go over it with him again. When I re-explain problems in my own words, it helps me organize my thoughts better and identify gaps in my understanding. What's more, Sujwa is actually quite brilliant. Some of his questions give me real breakthroughs. Those little troublemakers remained in the back rows of the honors class, with Sujwa assigning their daily homework and keeping tabs on their studies. Thus, every evening the internet cafe would witness quite the spectacle. A line of nervous students clutching workbooks or test papers would queue outside the private booths, awaiting homework inspection. Some got tossed out, students and assignments alike. Ugh, the boss made me redo everything. No sleep tonight. But hey, the boss actually praised me, said I could at least get into a third-tier college. Do you have to rub it in? Even the boss's wife complimented me. He. I saw Jiangyu again right before the mock college entrance exams, for this test. Our homeroom teacher Old Yang went all out. He convinced the principal to join a joint exam with 10 elite schools. Our school used to do joint exams too, but only with mediocre schools like No. 13 High, which we jokingly called the Trash League exams. This time, all schools were included except for the prestigious ones like No. 1 High, Affiliated High, and No. 2 High. The principal was hesitant at first, worried our results might be embarrassingly poor. Old Yang guaranteed confidently, "Don't worry. We'll secure at least one spot in the top 10, and just like that, the pressure landed squarely on me. It's alright, Zhao Zhao, I believe in you." Old Yang's eyes sparkled with youthful energy, as if he'd shed 5 years, brimming with determination. Got it, teacher, I believe in myself too. It really was time to find my place on a bigger stage. Stepping out of the office, I ran into Jiangyu. He was still wearing braces on his arms and legs, not fully recovered yet. Zhao, you seem different from before, Jiangyu remarked. I suddenly became aware of the overly bright smile plastered across my face, especially when facing Jiangyu's gloomy expression. You're finally back at school. How's your health? I've been so worried about you, I said, putting on my most devoted girlfriend act. He scoffed. Do you really care? You never once visited me during my surgery or hospital stay. In my past life, I would have rushed to the hospital to take care of him if anything happened. But now, even exchanging these few words with him feels like a waste of time. I was afraid your parents might suspect we're dating too young, and that wouldn't reflect well on you, I said with feigned melancholy before quickly adding, but it's alright now, you're back. Tomorrow's the mock exam, our 10-school joint test. You've got this. Sure enough, Jianyu's face darkened further. 15, I knew him far too well. The same words of encouragement meant support and trust when said to others. But for someone like Jiangyu, the more encouragement he gets, the greater the psychological pressure becomes. It only makes him feel like people are waiting to see him fail. What's the big deal about the 10-school joint exam? He feigned indifference. A person's true ability isn't determined by a single test. Of course not. But if someone consistently performs poorly, doesn't that suggest they're just worthless? I said coolly. What are you implying? Jiangyu's voice rose, his telltale sign of anger. I shrugged innocently. No hidden meaning here. I genuinely believe you'll ace the exam. Your score will easily clear the 211 university threshold. Go get M. Watching the vein bulge at Jianyu's temple, I barely suppressed my laughter. On our way back to the internet cafe, Sujua was visibly sulking. Some people just need a good beating. Why waste words on them? If all else fails, after the college entrance exams, I'll just steal his phone and alter his application choices. No way. I scoffed. We're law-abiding citizens. We don't do illegal things like that. Besides, the real art of revenge lies in crushing someone's spirit. I added with a dark chuckle. As I finished speaking, I suddenly noticed Sujua had stopped walking moments earlier. My heart skipped a beat. During those 3 months as a wandering spirit, I tasted all the bitterness of life and witnessed too many unspeakable dark thoughts. Though we both got a second chance, perhaps Sujua would find my current mindset still too shadowed by darkness. I stepped back and explained hesitantly, don't worry, I won't do anything too extreme to him. Sujua's eyes glazed over as he shook his head. Zhao, did you just say we to me? Why did I overthink things just now, right after the mock exams ended? Some students rushed to Old Yang to ask about their scores. Old Yang never got annoyed by their constant inquiries. Instead, he chuckled warmly. It's good to see the kids taking their studies seriously. The joint exams from 10 schools will take days to grade, so just relax and focus on preparing for the monthly test. Everyone, amidst the general anticipation, Jiangyu grew increasingly uneasy. He'd missed the last monthly exam but later completed the test papers on his own, to his dismay. His scores were even lower than those of a few mediocre students. He was genuinely panicking, leaning on his crutch. He asked me, "Zhou Zhao Zhao, if I take a gap year, would you wait for me?" The 10-school joint exam became the final blow that shattered him. After the exam results were released, old Yang painstakingly copied our class scores by hand onto a large red poster, character by character. No one would have guessed this rough-looking man could write such elegant regular script. One column for grades, one for school ranking, and one for the 10-school ranking. Many classmates were moved to tears. Out of 10 schools and over 10,000 students, ranking around 5,000 is no small feat. I was literally at the bottom in my high school entrance exams. Oh my god, just 2 months of casual studying and I've improved this much. I should have started way earlier. Hey guys, I made it to the top 1,000. How good is that? Does this guarantee me a first-tier university spot? Green Bamboo Pole was absolutely heartbroken. Boss lady, you wouldn't believe it. When our gang first transitioned into a study group, those 13th high kids mocked us, saying we couldn't cut it anymore. 16. At first, we all felt too ashamed to even look our boss in the eye, but look at me now, scoring over 400 points, screw slacking off. I'm hitting the books and getting into college. I grabbed a tissue and dabbed at his snot bubble. What's there to be ashamed of? Hitting the books beats throwing punches any day. Outscore those hoodlums from 13th high, and you'll outshine them in life. Their thug phase won't last, but what you learn stays with you forever. Let's see who comes out on top in a few years. Green Bamboo nodded emphatically. Damn right it'll be us. The fairy lights chimed in excitedly. Victory's gotta be ours. The energy in the room instantly became electric. Even the students in the front row of our class joined the chant. Victory has to be ours. Sujua seized the chaos to grab my wrist, giving it a shake. Mr. Zhou, did you see my ranking? I saw it. Of course I saw it. I was first on the scoreboard, with Sujua right behind me in second place, in the inter-school ranking. I came in second while he placed 10th. Old Yang's bold promise of securing a spot in the top 10 not only came true, but brought an unexpected bonus. Maybe it was the emotional build-up, or perhaps memories of that grueling month pulling all-nighters studying in internet cafes. My eyes grew misty, on the verge of tears. In my past life, my greatest dream was simply getting into any 985 university, just to escape City A, to leave that house behind. Bigger dreams, I never dared to dream them, nor knew how to. All I ever saw was that small circle of sky above the well, but now, as I slowly climb out of that well, my vision expands, and I realize the sky is boundless. I can fly, I can soar freely, top of the school. No, next I'll dominate all 10 schools, then I'll reclaim my rightful place across the entire city. Finally, with devout determination, I set my remaining half-step into the hallowed grounds of Tsinghua and Peking University. At this moment, my heart surges like tidal waves, not just from the radiant future and lofty ambitions, but from the unshakable certainty of attainment. In my past life, I was always utterly alone, shuttling between school and home like a solitary pendulum on its fixed path. In this life, I've rediscovered my greatest mentor Himayan and found my perfect companion Sujua. In perfect sync, we stride steadily toward the future. I looked up at Sujua and declared, "Mr. Su, I hereby pronounce you the finest student I've ever taught." He glanced down, his smile faltering momentarily as his extended finger hovered then withdrew, scooted closer and whispered, "You can wipe your snot on my shoulder." I'll pretend I didn't see those snot bubbles. Got pummeled by me in response. I wasn't snotty at all, you clueless jerk. Honestly, I just shed a couple of elegant tears, that's all. Rubbed hard against Sujua's brand new white tee. Zhou Zhao Zhao. What the hell are you doing? I looked up to meet Jiang Yu's stormy expression. Jiang Yu's exam results turned out even worse than he'd anticipated. Just as I expected, while he was away for those 2 months, all his classmates made progress to varying degrees, while he remained stagnant. You either move forward or fall behind, and I messed with his head right before the exam. His ranking was nearly at the bottom. At my silent signal, Sujua let Jiang Yu pull me to the corner of the classroom. "Have you fallen for that delinquent?" Why, there were plenty of reasons, but I only intended to tell him. 17, Resource Group Pushpin Contact, QQ 17*973283031. No way, of course I still like you, but Sujua, he gets straight A's. Jiang Yu's expression shattered. Just because he aces exams and I don't. I lowered my head in silent acknowledgement. Jiang Yu took a deep breath. "Zhou Zhao Zhao, grades don't define everything, and have you forgotten how I stood up for you before?" When those bullies targeted you, I was the one who made it stop, don't you remember? Of course I remember. Last time, you deceived me just like this, leaving me utterly devastated. I looked up with reluctant hesitation written all over my face. Jiangyu, I'll always be grateful to you, but I've come to realize that academic excellence is far more attractive. Jiangyu stood dumbfounded, staggering back until he barely steadied himself against the wall. The person who was completely under his thumb, once utterly devoted and obedient to him, now suddenly looks down on him, all because of poor exam results. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But Jiangyu would take it to heart, for exams are his deepest insecurity. The academic pedestal he's scheming to drag me down from is the outstanding achievement he desperately craves but can never attain. Suzhua finally lost patience and sauntered over. Zhou Zhao Zhao, why waste your breath on this underachiever? Jiangyu's eyes burned with fury. Who are you calling an underachiever? Just wait, Zhou Zhao Zhao. I'll prove myself with top marks. Sure, I'll be waiting, I replied with a sweet smile. I can't wait to see how you'll keep failing harder with each exam. We only came back to school today because we had to check our grades. Suzhua and I, after evening classes, we packed up our things and headed back to the internet cafe. At the doorway, Zhang Ting stopped us, nervously twisting her fingers as she asked timidly, Zhou Zhao Zhao, could I join your Blazing Flame study group too? To be honest, Suzhua runs this study group with serious dedication, though he grumbles while assigning and checking homework for his little fireflies. His tailored teaching methods have skyrocketed their grades. Everyone's witnessed their remarkable progress. Top students from honors classes were practically drooling with envy, begging to join the study group. Suzhua turned a blind eye and casually carried them along to success. But this time, the one wanting to join was Zhang Ting. I'm sorry for the things I said about you before, but, Zhang Ting clenched her fingers until they turned white, but I didn't mean it. I won't do it again. Zhou Zhao Zhao, I really want to improve my grades and get into a better school. /O. I nodded with a smile. Do you think I should agree? You think you just carelessly said a few harsh words to me back then. Fine, now I'm just carelessly turning you down. You think it's unfair, don't you? Because my refusal might cost you admission to a better school, the stakes are too high. Well, let me tell you, your careless insults changed the course of my life too. I patted her shoulder. Zhang Ting, I'm Zhou Zhao Zhao, no saint who can return good for evil. I know Suzhua told his crew, no teaching you, no letting you tag along secretly to learn. Let me make this crystal clear today. Joining our study group, not a chance. You won't lay eyes on a single page of our materials. Watching Zhang Ting's face pale instantly, I felt nothing, not even satisfaction. People like her, they've already faded from my view. Monthly exams are coming one after another. 18. This time, old Yang was unusually motivated and secretly asked us, class, how about we try out one high school's mock exam papers? Old Yang's former classmate teaches at one high school. He gifted them a bottle of mitai and finally managed to get a set of mock exam papers. The moment people heard it was one high school, their first reaction was immediate intimidation. It's alright, don't sell yourself short, give it a try and see where you stand in the city's top school. Nobody used to buy into old Yang's motivational pep talks, but somehow this time it actually fired everyone up. So for this monthly exam, our class got separate test papers and our own ranking system. Someone burst into tears right after the exam. Tough, really tough. Green Bamboo came running over in tears. Boss lady, I thought I'd improved, but turns out I don't even measure up when put with the real top students. Suzhua rarely showed patience as he ruffled the boy's green hair. Top students go to Tsinghua or Peking University, but there are plenty of decent colleges left for you. Besides, you might surprise us all when the results come out. Who says you can't outperform those elite school kids? Just as expected, though everyone felt crushed right after the exam, their confidence skyrocketed when the results came out, because old Yang not only got hold of the test papers but also the grade distribution rankings from one high school. Comparing the data, they realized their scores would actually rank near the top even at the elite school. That dream school which always seemed out of reach suddenly felt within their grasp. Both Suzhua and I were quite familiar with the exam papers from one high school. Our scores consistently ranked first and second. This test was practically at the same level as the National College Entrance Exam. I scored 679, while Suzhua got 623. That dream school that once felt out of reach is actually getting closer. Ever seen the scene where students cheer with every torn page of the Gaokao countdown calendar? Right before the second mock exam, I returned to school and witnessed exactly that spectacle. downright spine-chilling. Everyone was rolling up their sleeves, eager for the upcoming citywide standardized exam. Some classmates spotted Suzhua and me returning, rushing over with test papers to ask questions. Except for Zhang Ting and her clique who bullied me relentlessly. Most classmates had joined our study group. When evening self-study ended, they'd swarm into the internet cafe in droves, waiting for review sessions and QA, novel collection pushpin WeChat, QQ17973288031. Suzhua finally lost patience. Take a number, and try helping each other out, will you? I need time to study too. He Mayan crossed his legs and said with a grin, our Su here's doing great now, even his students can teach others. Suzhua nearly snapped his pen in half. Exclusive contact pushpin WeChat. QQ*179*7328031, who gave you the right to call me classmate? Only Zhou Xiaoxiao gets to be my teacher. Got it, but I'm Zhou Xiaoxiao's teacher. He Mayan taunted, you're just jealous, aren't you? They almost came to blows. Fight all you want, just don't mess up the mock exams. I tried mediating, feeling utterly drained. The mock exam results were posted. The same red paper notices, the same delicate calligraphy. Suzhua was slapping his thigh in excitement. Zhou Xiaoxiao, did you see this? Your results? Oh my god, yeah, I'm shocked too. Ranked third in the entire city. Though I've been working hard to reclaim my former standing, I never expected it to happen this fast, or this perfectly. I ranked third citywide in the high school entrance exam. Teachers said I was practically guaranteed admission to Tsinghua or Peking University. From my past life to this one, after wandering through countless detours, I finally returned to where I was always meant to be. It's been so hard. Unbearably hard. No one could possibly understand the anguish I've carried all these years, but it's unnecessary now. These results speak for themselves. May I lean on your shoulder once more? I asked Suzhua, tilting my head up. 19, bathed in the morning light, his smile outshone the sun. Of course, the honor is mine. Tears streamed down my face. Suzhua's grades were excellent too, ranking in the top 100 citywide. I scolded him angrily, with your brains, if you'd buckled down earlier. You could have easily gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University. He waved it off casually. I don't need Tsinghua or Peking. Getting into any Beijing university with you is good enough. I wish I'd realized this sooner too, but I just wasn't mature enough back then. It took me 3 months by the lake to realize there's nothing embarrassing about hanging out with top students. Truth is, I'd already fallen for your relentless determination. I just hadn't noticed. I'm absolutely speechless about the school bully's twisted logic in his past life. As expected, Jiangyu bombed the exam spectacularly, completely defeated. He asked if I'd drop out with him. I can't even bother pretending anymore, because he's already a lost cause. Why should I throw away my bright future just to sync with you? Jiangyu raised his voice. Zhou Xiaoxiao, is your future more important than me? Of course. Who do you think you are? I found it utterly ridiculous. And I suggest you don't take a leave from school, because your grades will only get worse. When you come back, you might not even make it into a vocational college. Those words turned out to be prophetic. Jiangyu barely scraped by the second-tier college cutoff in his previous life, but this time around, his performance was an absolute disaster, ended up with no college to attend. Suzhua and I kept grinding through hell mode after the second mock exam until the third. When we adjusted our pace and consolidated key concepts, the night before the Gaokao, Suzhua whispered to comfort me, don't stress too much. What if the questions are the same as back then? This is the issue we've discussed before, whether this year's college entrance exam papers will be identical to those from our previous life. Living this second life, I've realized how much has changed, like a butterfly's wings. The slightest alteration triggers massive ripple effects. That's why I can't take chances. Suzhua and I must push through this hellish, round-the-clock study marathon. Even if the exam content changes, we'll still achieve the scores we deserve. He Mayan noticed us whispering and cut in disapprovingly. What's this secret conversation? Students, care to share with your teacher? Claim benefits pushpin WeChat. QQ no 17973288031. Suzhua snorted triumphantly. That's between me and Zhou Xiaoxiao. He Mayan scoffed and went back to double-checking the things we needed to bring tomorrow. I looked at Suzhua with amusement. After the exams, you'll have to tell me your secret too. I've always had some theories about reincarnation. Examination hall. Seeing the exam paper was indeed different from my past life, and to my surprise, I felt even more exhilarated in that moment. All my efforts were about to be put to the test in this exam, unlike my previous life, where I frantically rushed through the papers in a sweaty panic. This time, I was remarkably composed, It felt like I could clearly see the logic and answers behind every question. All I had to do was calmly transcribe them onto the exam paper. The final bell rang as I handed in my last exam sheet. My heart was at peace, brimming with quiet satisfaction. Outside the exam hall, Sujwa leaned against the wall gasping. Drenched in sweat, standing leisurely in the shade, Himayan watched with amusement. With the exam site being so far away, I doubt Su even finished his paper when he rushed over. The fact that Himayan could snitch on me while smiling like that was downright unbelievable. Bullshit. I finished the damn thing and double-checked before handing it in. I ran all the way here. 20. Sujwa grabbed a bottle of mineral water, poured it over his head, shook it off like a wet dog, and asked with sparkling eyes, "How'd it go? How was the exam?" The questions were super easy this time. "Why'd it take you so long to finish?" It really was easy. I finished way earlier, but I wanted to stay longer. This second shot at the college entrance exam didn't come easy, and I treasure every moment. The phone rang at 3 a.m. Half asleep, I saw Sujwa spring up from his makeshift bed on the floor. During these months of brutal study sessions, we solved problems, discussed solutions, and repeated the cycle around the clock. When exhaustion hit, I took the narrow bed while Sujwa and Himayan crashed on floor mats. After the exams, Himayan complained his back was killing him and went home to sleep for days. Zhou Zhao Zhao, quick, Qinghua's admissions office is calling. Sujwa shook me awake. Post Gaokao. I completely checked out and just wanted to crash. Only Sujwa kept researching Peking Tsinghua admissions online, memorizing both universities' admission hotlines by heart. I answered the phone with sleep still thick in my voice, only to learn they'd already checked my scores and were recommending Tsinghua, second in the entire city. Not bad at all. I'll give it serious thought. Thank you. Hanging up, I met Sujwa's intensely curious gaze. "You don't want to go to Tsinghua. Does that mean you won't be with Himayan?" Before his face darkened completely, I explained. "I choose my university for no one but myself. I want to live my own life, one that isn't shaped by others. And Sujwa, I hope you'll choose the school you truly want, and live your own life too, without changing because of me." Sujwa mumbled hesitantly, "But it's only because of you that I study hard. Otherwise, I just coast through like my past self, barely scraping into some second-tier college and drifting through each day in a daze. My parents have their own families now and can't be bothered with me. The more money they throw at me, the more absurd it feels, like cash is all a person needs to exist in this world. It was seeing you, tenacious as weeds pushing through cracked earth, that made me start thinking life might hold something worth living for." Sujwa looked as dejected as a drenched stray dog. I ruffled his unkempt hair. "Then go find your own joy in life. You'll discover there's plenty to be had. Don't be afraid." "Sujwa, you don't need to follow me, because I'll always be here. Stand firm in your life choices, growing upward like a mighty tree, unshaken by others' opinions." Then, branches intertwined midair, bathed in shared sunlight and weathering the same storms. I shook my head. Ultimately, I chose Peking University for its stronger program fit. Resource group Pushpin WeChat. QQ number 1797328031. Himayan lamented in anguish. "Why, is Tsinghua not prestigious enough for you?" Sujwa gloated with a smug hum. "Isn't it obvious? It's for my sake, so I won't have to constantly watch my back around you." Just as I was about to declare my neutrality, Sujwa gave me a playful nudge with her foot. She whispered coyly, "Just humor me this once, won't you?" "Fine, let's save him some face." Himayan was utterly dejected. "Still can't be classmates. Huh, didn't work out in high school, and now not even in college. Ugh." Sujwa crossed her arms. "What, is being Zhou Zhao's classmate all you care about?" Himayan took a frustrated sip of bubble tea. "I gave up on that ages ago, with you guarding her like a rabid dog over food. Who dare make a move?" "Oh, so you actually considered robbing me?" Sujwa's eyes narrowed into slits again. "Remember our deal? After I tutor Zhou Zhao into Tsinghua or Peking University, you're eating that gaming chair." Himayan perked up with a gentle smile, patting the chair beneath him. 21. Bon appetit. My heart skipped a beat. He actually remembered. To my surprise, Sujwa didn't even flinch, pulled out the phone and opened an app. "Relax, I've already ordered a gaming chair-shaped cake, it'll arrive today." When we said eat the gaming chair, we didn't mean literally, right? That's some next-level trolling right there. Himayan choked back laughter for a long moment before finally grinning. "Alright then, let's consider this a celebration for the three of us. Here's to our bright future." Himayan got into Tsinghua. I made it to Peking University, while Sujwa landed at his dream top 5 school. We should definitely celebrate this hard-won bright future. Only after my relentless questioning did Sujua come clean about why we were given this second chance at life. Thankfully, it wasn't some sinister deal like I'd feared. After sitting by the lake for 3 months, he chanced upon rumors of a temple where the enshrined deity was said to work miracles. The man who'd never believed in God's journeyed thousands of miles there, climbing the mountain step by step before kneeling on the prayer cushion for 3 days, whispering just one plea: someone so good deserves better, give her another chance. On the mountain descent, a sudden downpour triggered a mudslide that swept him away. When his eyes reopened, he found himself back in senior year of high school. Then, he spotted me standing at the internet cafe's counter. The gods work in mysterious ways. Buy one get one free, they gave you a second chance, and me a fresh start, Sujua murmured devoutly, palms pressed together. I silently whispered thank you a few times, grateful for this chance to make up for the regrets and missed opportunities from my past life. A few days later, old Yang called to say Grandma came looking for me at school. It's been too long since I've been home. Yet I don't miss it at all. Still went to the school to bring Grandma back home. Zhao, is it true they say you got into Peking University? She beamed with a wide smile. They say if you get into Peking University, there's a lot of scholarship money to be had. Is that true? To stay connected, quickly add pushpin WeChat, QQ number 17 *97 *3280 *31. How much could that possibly be? Granny's wrinkles instantly blossomed into a smile. After some thought, I replied. Probably around a couple $100,000, just as I expected. Before the bonus even hit our account, Granny and my little brother had already gone on a wild shopping spree. When cash was tight, they'd just activate online loan overdrafts. My brother was quite sharp when it came to that. By the time they found me again, the two of them were already over 100 grand in debt. Hey Zhao, has the bonus come through? We're 2 months behind on bills. Can we pay up this month? There actually came a day when Grandma spoke to me softly, propping my chin in hand. I asked curiously, why should I use my own bonus to pay off your debts? Grandma said matter-of-factly, of course your money should go toward our debts. If you don't pay, the debt collectors will come knocking. I scratched my ear. But I'm not even part of your Zhou family. Why should I care if you live or die? Grandma paused. What do you mean? You are one of our Zhous. I really do, a worthless burden. Right, I said with a smile, I really do, since you've always treated me as dead weight. How could I possibly disappoint you? Don't worry, from now on you won't profit a single cent from me. Despite her fear of Sujua sitting beside me, Grandma still jumped up in agitation. That shriveled, scrawny body could unleash such a piercing shriek. You ungrateful little brat, got into Peking University and think you're too good for us now. Just wait, I'll expose you online. The whole world will know what a disgraceful daughter you are. My brother chimed in, yeah, we'll post about you everywhere. Let everyone see what you've done. I was absolutely terrified. Quickly grab paper and pen, list out all the major platforms one by one, and hand it to him. Don't forget to post everywhere. Jihu included. It's a solid platform. I'd love nothing more than for this to go viral. Then I can finally air every single thing you've done to me over the years. Netizens see everything. Once this blows up, consider us done. You won't squeeze another cent out of me. 22. My brother was about to argue stubbornly, but Grandma pulled him down to sit. Indeed, as a beneficiary of privilege, he remained oblivious to the favoritism he'd received. And Grandma, she too had endured similar deprivation and oppression growing up, now employing those same tactics against me. She knew exactly what she was doing. Let's lay it all out. For over a decade in this household, I've faced nothing but injustice at every turn. Listen now, your father never treated you poorly, did he? Now that he's gone, shouldn't you take care of us in his place? Grandma switched back to her honeyed tones. How cunning, she knows exactly where to hit me. In the previous life, the one without Sujua and Himayan, my father remains my most treasured memory, the last tender spot in my heart. Grandma noticed the shift in my expression, and her scheming mind stirred again. Zhao. Your brother and I won't squander money anymore. Just cover our debts for now. That loan company your brother found is terrifying. They threaten to send thugs to our door if we don't repay the money. Obviously, these shady lenders that casually hand out six-figure loans specialize in these kinds of intimidation tactics. But then again, what's that got to do with me? How about we write an IOU? That should work, right? Grandma refused to give up. I sighed. Fine, go ahead and write that IOU then. Grandma cheerfully got up to leave when I stopped her. But not to me. Go borrow from relatives, friends, or neighbors. Pay back the loan company when you've scraped together enough. We both know that once you owe me, you'll never pay it back. In the end, I saved Grandma's bank account details and promised to transfer small amounts regularly. I planned to send her that 100,000 yuan over 10 years, after all. She's been carefully managing every penny to take care of me since Dad passed away. Don't lose or change that card, or the money won't go through, I reminded before leaving. Granny hissed through clenched teeth. How cruel, you heartless wretch. Gazing at this place I'd lived in for over a decade yet still felt alien, I chuckled dryly. I suppose I should thank you for raising me to be so well-behaved. I changed all my contact details to ensure neither my grandmother nor brother could ever find me again, finally breaking free from the family nightmare. The place that should have been my sanctuary gave me life but denied me basic dignity, a cruelty that cuts deeper than anything. If that's how it is, I'll walk away with my head held high. September arrived with the first whispers of autumn wind, the sun still blazing fiercely. Stepping through Peking University's gates, after a brief daze, I did what I always do first, inquire about student loans. Sujua dragged the luggage while grumbling. What's the big deal? I could have just paid this measly tuition for you. Junior year, I foolishly believed my boyfriend's sweet talk about marrying our first love, and gave him everything precious I had. Xinyu, how is this a debt? Between us, who keeps score? He stopped dead in his tracks, fuming. I had no choice. I stepped back and poked his cheek. Between us, it's always been you and me. He turned his face away, avoiding my touch. Sujua, I want to love you freely and as equals. Will you give me this chance? I looked up and asked earnestly. He finally turned his face toward me, his frantic gaze sweeping over me as he struggled to catch his breath. Swallowing hard, he pressed his lips together and forced out the words. No. I was completely stunned. That was the last response I'd expected. Sujua grabbed my hand, his fingers trembling slightly. No. I have to be the one to confess. You can't steal my moment. I was speechless yet amused. Fine then, you do the confessing. I won't steal your thunder. No way, that's way too casual. Sujua was practically frantic. I plan to confess on your birthday. Everything's ready. I watched his face flicker between excitement, anxiety, and this pitiful pout, suddenly remembering his old bad boy at school swagger. What a trip down memory lane. Sujua, oh Sujua. Did you ever imagine this day would come when you sat by the lake every day in our past life calling me a dumbass? Alright, I won't push you, but can you give me a little treat in advance? I asked. Under his puzzled gaze, I rose on tiptoe and leaned in. He remained frozen, instinctively bending down, and so, I pressed a gentle kiss upon his forehead. How glorious, this scorching sun. This fiery youth I'll forever cherish.